Chapter 521, Zuo Junxuan. Chen Shang laughed as he struck his palm towards the iron cage, producing 10 sounds of explosion, pa 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 pa. Just like the old man, he also created 10 successive echoes. This was the 10th level of demon subduing force. The old man, who was originally proud of himself, was now dumbfounded as he looked at Chen Shang with disbelief. The other people in the cage almost had their eyes pop out of their sockets. That old man was the former principal of the academy, so it was not surprising that he could cultivate his demon-subduing force to the 10th level, but Chen Shang seemed just like a young man, while he also learned the 10th level of demon-subduing force. How could it be possible? Could it be that the demon-subduing force is now easy to cultivate? The old man gulped. If that was the case, he felt that he could crash his head into the wall and die. He had painstakingly trained for so long before he was able to reach the 10th level, but now a little brat was also able to do it as well, which made him feel pretty uncomfortable. Of course not, the old hag is only at the 9th level of demon subduing force. I just used the strength of 10th level of demon subduing force to kill a person who provoked me in front of her and butt her. That's why I am imprisoned here. Chen Shang shook his head and sighed. So, former principal, what's your name? I never see any records of you in the history books of the Demon Subduing Academy. Chen Shang said. My name is Zuo Junxuan. Have you really never seen my name in the historical records of the academy? The old man was infuriated. He had made such a huge contribution to the school, but now his name was removed from the records. Some people had done their best to spread their name throughout the ages, but now, he did not have any reputation. Chen Shang nodded his head. I still have those history books with me. With that, he took out a book, but he couldn't show it to Zuo Junxuan because there was a formation array inside and between their iron cages. Put it on the ground. I can see it, Zuo Junxuan said. After Chen Shang landed the book on the ground, he saw Zuo Junxuan's eyebrows knitted together. Chen Shang felt a weak power coming toward him. The book started to quickly flip through, and it only took him a moment to finish flipping through it before moving forward from the back to the front again. Zuo Junxuan's old face twitched as he read the book. His rage was unparalleled as he suddenly burst out in wild laughter. Ha, 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 you damned old woman, how dare you wipe out my 10,000 years of contributions to the Demon Subduing Academy. As long as I get the chance, I will definitely die with you. Chen Shang didn't know why, but he suddenly felt happy in his heart. He also hated that old woman called Lu Yufang. He did not take this old woman deserve the position of principal. She was simply a virtuous woman. Originally, Chen Shang had planned to use some time to break the formation, but seeing how much this old woman hated this old maiden, he immediately got a plan. Former principal, how much confidence do you have to beat that old woman? Chen Shang suddenly used his divine sense to send a message to the old man. Zuo Junxuan immediately calmed down. He knew that Chen Shang was extraordinary. To be able to reach the 10th level of demon subduing force at such a young age, he must have some outstanding points. Moreover, he was filled with admiration for Chen Shang for him to dare offend Lu Yufang. HMPH, if she hasn't reached the 10th level of demon subduing force, I would be fully confident. Last time, they got many people sieging me and set me up to get me in here. Zuo Junxuan responded with his divine sense. Chen Zhang's thoughts shifted. All right, I can let you out, but you must promise me one condition. You must leave the old woman alive for me to slaughter her. This way it will be the hatred only between she and I, and the heavenly realm can only blame me alone. Zuo Junxuan didn't even think before agreeing. As long as you let me out, I will do my best to capture that old woman for you to deal with. At that time, you can still stay in the school. I will retrieve the position as a principal. Not long after he finished speaking, Chen Zhang's entire body trembled. Then a wave of white mist drifted out and filled the entire dungeon. It made people feel as if they were in a vast expanse of whiteness, while nothing was visible. This was something Chen Shang let out on purpose. He did it so that he wouldn't be seen by others when he used the Luotian Gate. Luotian Gate allowed people to traverse space. These formations did not seal off space, so Chen Shang easily opened a door and arrived at Zuo Junxuan's iron cage. Feeling Chen Zhang's sudden arrival, Zuo Junxuan was overjoyed. He hurriedly grabbed Chen Zhang's wrist and said, "Brat, you're my savior." Chen Shang laughed, "Let's leave here first." After that, he opened another space gate and pulled Zuo Junxuan inside. They arrived at a beach where the waves were crashing into. This was a small island by the coast of the King's continent, quite a distance away from the Demon Subduing Academy. Chen Shang was taking a huge risk by doing this. If Zuo Junxuan was a villain, then he would be in trouble. That's why he came to the beach, because this place was advantageous for him to escape through water in a very short period. However, what made Chen Shang feel at ease was that once Zuo Junxuan saw the sky full of stars and the boundless sea that was illuminated by the moonlight, he immediately knelt in front of Chen Shang and said, "Little brother, please accept my bow." "Sir, please get up. I can't take it." Chen Shang hurriedly helped Zuo Junxuan up. Zuo Junxuan didn't ask how Chen Shang managed to get him out. He knew that it was someone else's secret. He just jumped into the sea to wash his body. "My name is Chen Shang, and I entered the school more than a month ago. At that time, I thought that it was a pretty good place, but later on, Chen Shang told Zuo Junxuan about his experience at the school. When Zuo Junxuan heard this, he said, "That is the damned old woman, she does not change at all. Hee, I still have to thank her for that. If she didn't bring you in, perhaps I wouldn't have been able to come out." Haha, Chen Shang laughed out loud. He knew that he would soon be able to kill that old woman with his own hands. Zuo Junxuan acted as a principal. He kept his composure. Although he was furious before, he didn't shout for revenge after he came out. It seems that apart from Chancellor Zhao Dao and Yu Baixiang, the other old things have all been subdued by that old woman. I guess I'll have to think it over later. After Zuo Junxuan washed up, he put on a set of clean clothes. He also had an invisible storage treasure, so many things were not taken away from him. After washing up and changing into a new set of clothes, Zuo Junxuan gave off the air of an immortal, leaving Chen Shang a very benevolent feeling. "Sir, if you can take back the control of Demon Subduing Academy, could you permit my wife and sister to enter the Stellar Transposition realm?" This was also a primary reason for Chen Shang risked helping Zuo Junxuan out. Zuo Junxuan answered straightforwardly, "No problem, but that stellar transposition realm is very special. A person can only stay inside for 10 days at most, which would be 10 years of time inside, then the realm will be useless for him or her. But I can let them stay inside for 10 more days. Haha, I control all the formidable features of the stellar transposition realm. Otherwise, the Demon Subduing Academy wouldn't have made such a rigid restriction on it. I dare to say that no more than people have entered the stellar transposition realm for the past 300 years. Chapter 522, Romance in a Bath. Chen Shang thought that one could enter the stellar transposition realm as long as he or she wished, but now he learned that there was a limitation. However, 20 days was not bad, because it would be 20 years inside. Just the thought of it made him excited. The stellar transposition realm requires a lot of powerful energy to maintain its operation, but it has been storing a lot of energy since a very old time. However, only I can release that energy. Now, if they want to activate the stellar transposition realm, they must first use a lot of energy to open an entrance, then use something energetic on their own to activate the stellar transposition grand formation. Zuo Junxuan continued. Chen Shang suddenly asked, "Sir, do you mean that you can let me enter the stellar transposition realm now?" "Of course I can, but I have to do that in the Demon Subduing Academy. Give me a couple days to rest, then I'll go back and deal with that old hag." As Zuo Junxuan gave the speech, he closed his eyes and absorbed the spirit chi of heaven and earth to nourish his body. After staying in the iron cage for so long, he had already consumed a lot of his elemental energy. Chen Shang also sat quietly to the side as he tried to comprehend the strange mantra of the demon subduing force. He wanted to see through the great perfection stage in the 11th level of this divine technique. The great perfection stage of demon fighting power was definitely very powerful. It required an integration of mantra of all the 10 levels, but it was not easy to execute. "Chen Shang, if you borrow my power and fuse yours with mine, you will be able to contend with that Liao Xiaoyun. That guy is about to experience the Nirvana tribulation soon. Even if you can't kill him, you can take advantage of this opportunity to disrupt his chance of passing the Nirvana tribulation and inflict serious injuries on him. In this way, it will be extremely difficult for him to pass the Nirvana tribulation in the future." Long Shui said. Liao Xiaoyun had already reached the peak of extreme realm. As long as he survived the Nirvana tribulation, he would be able to step into the Nirvana realm. The longer the Nirvana tribulation got postponed, the more powerful he would be. He would definitely not suppress his cultivation to delay the time of passing the Nirvana tribulation. However, if he was seriously injured, he would have no choice but to suppress his cultivation in order to prevent himself from being sensed by the Nirvana tribulation. "Are you sure about that?" Chen Shang took a deep breath. Right now, he was only at the early stage of the spiritual martial realm. It was already very difficult for him to deal with a warrior at the soul realm, not to mention the 100 refinement realm beyond it. Don't look down on me, I grew up much faster than you. If I had to get a rank on my strength, I would be at least in the 100 refinement realm. Long Shui said with a snort. Chen Shang had long known that Long Shui's strength was not negligible. Now that he heard it, he was really scared. One must know that the dragon power Long Shui used was authentic and was not as consuming as his. However, you know that you need to fully fuse with my strength. You should know what the consequences will be after that. Long Shui said. Chen Shang had a very strong flesh body. He felt that even if he merged with Long Shui's strength, it wouldn't be any serious consequences. It should be noted that many Nirvana realm warriors were not as powerful as him regarding physical body and divine sense. Alright, when I return to the Demon Subduing Academy, I will immediately look for Liao Xiaoyun. Chen Shang decided that he must get rid of Liao Xiaoyun, the person who had gone against him several times. HMPH. Don't look down on my power. Later you will understand that it hurts your flesh body a lot to fuse with my strength, while it will not leave behind any flaws. Long Shui said. In order to get revenge, Chen Shang didn't care too much. Otherwise, he would be suffocated to death by the anger in his heart. A few days later, he selected the mantra for the 1st to 10th levels of the demon subduing force, in a hope of assembling them into the mantra for the 11th level. However, his efforts were futile, because he did not know how to reassemble it. If he made a mistake, his cultivation would go berserk. Let's go. At this moment, Zuo Junxuan appeared to be energetic in a good spirit. A faint mist surrounded his body, making him look like an immortal. Chen Shang was extremely happy in his heart to make friends with such a formidable man. Chen Shang didn't know how Zuo Junxuan knew the direction towards the Demon Subduing Academy. He seemed to sense it after he closed his eyes for a moment. Then, he pulled Chen Shang along as they sprinted across the sea surface at an extremely fast speed. In just a few seconds, they had left the small island and arrived on the continent, flying among mountains and hills. Zuo Junxuan was jumping up and down one hill after another. His speed was so fast that Chen Shang couldn't even catch his breath. What a powerful flesh body. It seems that I can move faster. Zuo Junxuan laughed. His speed was indeed much faster than before. Right now, Chen Shang only felt as if the streams of air were sharp blades that were slicing through his body. In just half a day, Zuo Junxuan and Chen Shang saw the tall and imposing buildings. They were none other than the Demon Subduing Academy. All those old fellows who attacked me years ago had to die. A seemingly kind old man like Zuo Junxuan suddenly emitted a sharp killing intent. He had been holding back his anger for 300 years, and now he could not help but releasing it all in one go. Sir, you'd better get rid of them one by one. Don't let them unite together, otherwise it'll be detrimental to you. Chen Shang said. There were several old fellows in the academy who had passed the 8th Nirvana tribulation. Zuo Junxuan was the same as them, but since he knew the 10th level of demon subduing force, he was more powerful than them. If they were to fight him alone, he would take an advantageous position. I know, to deal with despicable people like them, we should use their methods. Zuo Junxuan smiled sinisterly, leaving the words, wait for me, before. Chen Shang looked at the sun in the sky and shook his head before sighing. It seems that a few powerful old fellows are going to fall today. His was the prompt of all of that. Little dragon, lock onto Liao Xiaoyun. As long as those old fellows die, I will make my move. Chen Shang said. Got it. Long Shui used the divine ability of spirit traveling around the 9 heavens to make her consciousness drift in the Demon Subduing Academy, then searched for Liao Xiaoyun through sensing his aura. Not long after Long Shui started, a wave of rumbling sound exploded inside of the academy. Chen Shang saw from afar a huge building suddenly shatter, and the area within a radius of 100 miles around the academy was also violently shaken by the shockwaves, causing the ground to crack. That was an act of a person who had survived the 8th Nirvana tribulation. Such a man could destroy a whole continent in a single move, let alone a college. Damned, I should have told Shenxian and Yulin to come out first. Chen Shang had been repeatedly enjoining Zuo Junxuan to take his action quietly, but he never expected the commotion to be so loud. As a result, he had no choice but to use his Luotian gate to open a spatial gate that led to Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin's residence. After entering the spatial gate, Chen Shang appeared in the bathroom. He saw Lang Yulan and Shui Shenxian naked with some petals in their hands as they gently rubbed their flawless bodies. Seeing the two snow-white bodies filled with pink petals, Chen Shang almost suffocated from the visual impact. Especially when he saw the two pairs of sparkling and round, jade peaks, he couldn't help but take in a deep breath to calm himself down. Brother! Lang Yulan hurriedly rushed over as she saw Chen Shang appear. Chapter 523, The Power of Dragon Force. Chen Shang didn't have the time to watch the two alluring bodies. He hurriedly shouted, "Quickly put on your clothes. There is a fight going on outside. How could you still be able to take a bath here?" As he spoke, there was another explosive sound ringing out. The earth shook violently, and the house nearly collapsed. Lang Yulan and Bai Yuyu was astonished. They hurried dressed up. At this time, Chen Shang could not help but take a few more glances. This was a rare opportunity, especially for him to watch Lang Yulan, who was wrapping her big, snow rabbits, in front of him without leaving a single mark. On the other hand, it was Shui Shenxian who felt extremely bashful, her face completely red. "You rascal, you have seen everything of us." Shui Shenxian snorted coquettishly and scolded Chen Shang for appearing here so rashly. "Sister Shenxian, you're already big brother's wife. Why are you still so shy?" Lang Yulan giggled. She was Chen Zhang's little sister, and even she didn't care anymore, let alone Shui Shenxian. After the two girls put on their clothes, they didn't even have time to ask Chen Shang before he urged them to leave the Demon Subduing Academy. Seeing Chen Zhang's nervous and serious expression, the two girls hurriedly left. Although they were both worried of him, they knew him well and were pretty clear how capable he was. The news of Chen Shang escaping the dungeon shocked the entire Demon Subduing Academy. They also heard that Chen Shang had released a villain. "I found him. Liao Xiaoyun seems to be in his residence. He puts away his aura, so it's really hard to find him," Long Shui suddenly said. After Chen Shang learned Liao Xiaoyun's location, he sprinted up and made continuous leaps on the mountaintops. "This guy seems to be afraid of being dragged into this mess. He doesn't dare to move around recklessly," Chen Shang sneered. His residence was far away from the Demon Subduing Academy, but the battle still affected this area. Many mountains were shattered and many houses built in the mountains collapsed. He really hid far away. Chen Shang locked onto a mansion that was built on top of a mountain peak in the distance. That was Liao Xiaoyun's residence. Chen Shang released his aura from far away. It was a threatening killing intent pervasive around the mountain peak with waves of cold aura, causing Liao Xiaoyun to have no choice but to take a look inside. Liao Xiaoyun was very familiar with this killing intent, but he could not believe that Chen Shang would come looking for him. Of course, based on his understanding of Chen Shang, he knew that Chen Shang wouldn't do such a stupid thing. If Chen Shang could find him, it meant that Chen Shang must have some confidence. Liao Xiaoyun was secretly on alert. He tightly clenched his fists and threw out an explosive punch as he observed Chen Shang suddenly flying over. A thunderous sound accompanied with Liao Xiaoyun's punch. The lightning on his fist was dazzling, and countless lightning snakes with dazzling light were shot out along with his fist, just like ferocious ghost hands fiercely rushing towards Chen Shang. His power was very tyrannical, causing the air to vibrate with a pa-pa sound. Horrible thunder force released an invisible pressure from far away, enveloping Chen Shang, making him feel like his entire body was being cut by sharp knives. Countless bolts of lightning suddenly struck at him. Shocked, Chen Shang hurriedly dodged from it. At the same time, he let the Black Tortoise armament armor maintain its best defense while he released the Black Tortoise Luotian barrier. Even so, the right side of his body was still struck by the sudden, violent lightning. The burning numbness and pain rushed into his body, causing him to bite his teeth until they almost shattered. "Chen Shang, it's really you. I didn't expect that you would dare to come to die." Liao Xiaoyun relaxed a lot as he saw Chen Shang being punched so painstakingly by him. This proved that Chen Zhang's strength hadn't increased by much. Chen Shang clenched his teeth and said, "Thunder Soul. How could you get such a thing? Haha, I should thank you. If you didn't kill Zhang Quan, I wouldn't get the chance to collect his scattered Thunder Soul. You may not know, but things like the Thunder Soul are intelligent. Even though they flashed away at that time, as long as I control a part of them, I can gather the others," Liao Xiaoyun said in excitement. He himself was a person who used the power of thunder and lightning, thus the Thunder Soul was a supreme treasure for him. Chen Zhang's heart was bleeding with hatred. He never thought that his murder of Zhang Quan would raise Liao Xiaoyun's strength by a large amount. Seeing that Liao Xiaoyun was even more powerful than he had imagined, Chen Shang was secretly alarmed. But since he had come, he could not just leave like this. No matter what, he would definitely deal a heavy blow to Liao Xiaoyun today, and even if he couldn't kill Liao Xiaoyun, he would at least injure Liao Xiaoyun so that he would make errors during the Nirvana tribulation. Since it was not a formal martial contest, Chen Shang could fight recklessly. He called out the Azure Dragon Devil Slayer, and the hands of God of Slaughter, which tremendously increased his strength. Seeing Chen Shang take out his divine weapons, Liao Xiaoyun's eyes were filled with greed and ecstasy. He already knew that Chen Zhang's Azure Dragon Devil Slayer was not a simple item. Right now, he had a good opportunity to obtain this weapon, just by killing Chen Shang. You have no idea what you are dealing with. Liao Xiaoyun stretched out his 5 fingers, after which lightning flashed in his palm, and an electric net made of lightning suddenly shot towards Chen Shang at an extremely fast speed. Chen Shang, who had been prepared for this earlier, dodged it with his fastest speed. He used the water mirror technique, thus the electric net only struck a fake image he released. After the virtual image formed by the mist was hit by the electric net, the intense electric current caused a burst of heat, causing the mist to disappear. At the same time Chen Shang performed the water mirror technique, Long Shui also started to release her dragon force and fused it with Chen Zhang's force for him to use it. In just a split second, Chen Shang felt his entire body brimming with terrifying power. That was an extremely rich and powerful dragon force. As a dragon, Long Shui didn't need to transform her dragon force. Instead, his strength was all pure dragon force, while Chen Zhang's dragon force was compressed through martial arts, that he must compress a large amount of true qi rapidly so transform it into dragon force, which was still very different from the real dragon force. Not only did Long Shui integrate her dragon force with Chen Shang, she also combined her magic power and divine sense with him, allowing Chen Shang to gain a better understanding of the situation around him. At that moment, he could feel the ants moving within a radius of several miles. He could even clearly count the number of these ants. This was the effect of a powerful divine sense. Such a miraculous fusion caused Chen Shang to be extremely excited. Last time Long Shui fused with him in the same way, it was her who controlled the power, but now it was him who took the control. He felt pretty different than he did last time. In a split second, Chen Zhang's strength soared to an unbelievable level. He flashed to the side of Liao Xiaoyun, waved his blade, and suddenly chopped down. Dragon force bursted out from his body like rivers and rushed into his blade, then emitted out with a buzzing sound. After the occurrence of such kind of formidable dragon force, a lot of cracks suddenly appeared on the mountaintops. Liao Xiaoyun's house was also instantly shattered by this powerful energy. Boom! A loud sound reverberated in all directions. Liao Xiaoyun had actually struck out his attack in the blink of an eye. The fist with berserk thunder force struck on the edge of the blade. The two violent forces collided with each other, releasing an astonishing amount of energy that caused the entire mountain to collapse. Chapter 524, Seizing the Soul Part 1. Even though Chen Shang borrowed Long Shui's strength, he still felt his strength somewhat inferior to that of Liao Xiaoyun. During the shock wave, the two of them couldn't help but retreat in order to avoid the recoil. The mountain instantly vanished, raised to plain ground. After landing on the ground, Chen Shang only saw Liao Xiaoyun's messy hair and his face filled with shock, since from the fight earlier, he saw that Chen Zhang's strength was not much inferior to his. The last time he saw Chen Shang getting injured by Zhang Quan, he also gave Chen Shang a punch. At that time, Chen Zhang's strength was not that terrifying, but it had only been a few days, yet Chen Zhang's strength had already leapt to an unfathomable level. Liao Xiaoyun's attacks were extremely vicious and swift. Although he was shocked in his heart, his attacks became even sharper, and he punched at Chen Shang from a distance. The electric light of his fist was like a huge flying knife, constantly shooting out like thousands of horses with stunning aura, generating waves of thunders rushing toward Chen Shang. Looking at the huge wave of lightning blades coming at him, Chen Zhang's heart trembled. He immediately circulated the dragon force in his body and fiercely slashed forward with his blade, causing a blade light condensed from dragon force meeting the violent lightning, which avoided Chen Shang from being hit by the heavy rain like bolts. When the two equally powerful forces collided with each other, another wave of forces swept out in all directions. However, the battle of the Nirvana realm warriors in a distance were much more brutal, as if it was going to destroy the world. The entire sky was shrouded by dark clouds. Booming sounds and thunderclaps rang out continuously. The mountains shook and the clouds billowed. The majestic aura brought with it an intimidating pressure, causing everyone's hearts to be shrouded in a dark haze of fear. After a short exchange, Liao Xiaoyun was certain that Chen Xiang possessed the strength to match his own. This made him even more puzzled and surprised. However, it was not the time to clarify this matter. The most important thing for him was to put Chen Xiang down. Liao Xiaoyun was extremely spirited. He could see that Chen Zhang's condition was extremely exhausting. If he persisted for a longer while, he might easily be able to defeat Chen Xiang. While he did not dare to approach Chen Xiang since he was intensely worried of Chen Zhang's Azure Dragon Devil Slayer. Most of the people who fought against Chen Xiang before had died. Even though they knew how terrifying Chen Zhang's Azure Dragon Devil Slayer was, they were still unable to voice it out loud. Liao Xiaoyun could only stay far away and use his powerful thunder attribute True Qi to continuously release lightning strikes at Chen Xian in a distance. This was equivalent to constantly releasing the True Qi in his body. It was a very consuming method, but he did not care about it. Because he had just merged with a Thunder Soul, he possessed an extremely dense amount of lightning energy. Thus he was pretty sure that his dense True Qi would definitely allow him to overperform Chen Xiang. Facing Liao Xiaoyun's violent and fast lightning attack, Chen Xiang had no way to dodge. He could only block and counterattack at the same time. Right now, he really couldn't afford to delay any longer, because his fusion state would not last too long. You can't continue to fight with him. You'll definitely be dragged down if not finishing it quickly. Long Shui spoke seriously. Chen Xiang frowned as the energy in his body surged. He then shouted out a loud cry that shook the sky. Then his Azure Dragon Devil Slayer suddenly blazed with a bright light while carrying a strange aura. This was the famous Devil Suppression Essence Qi. Liao Xiaoyun once again released lightning that covered the sky. Chen Xiang then suddenly chopped down his divine saber that contained a powerful force. Pa pa pa, 10 consecutive thunderous rumbles suddenly rang out. It was as if the clouds had split into pieces and rocks pierced through the sky. The sound rumbled in all directions, and the Azure Dragon Devil Slayer itself was shaken to vibrate out a slight sound. Chen Xiang used Long Shui's Dragon Force combined with his Devil Suppression Essence Qi to unleash the power of the 10th level of Demon Subduing Force, causing 10 echoes to erupt. That kind of power was extremely terrifying. It shook the space, penetrated the earth, and burst out like furious dragons, rushing towards Liao Xiaoyun without any resistance, then instantly wiping out Liao Xiaoyun's violent lightning and passing through his body like a hot knife cutting through bamboo. This heart-wrenching injury caused Liao Xiaoyun to cry out miserably as blood spurted out from his mouth. He never thought that he would be forced to such a state by Chen Xiang. This was an incomparable humiliation to him. Chen Xiang took a step forward. His hand was like a dragon's claw, and the tip of his claw was filled with formidable dragon force as it slashed towards Liao Xiaoyun's abdomen. His 5 fingers pierced through Liao Xiaoyun's stomach, causing him to let out another painful roar. In the meanwhile, Liao Xiaoyun also attacked Chen Zhang's back fiercely. As his thunder fist hit on Chen Zhang's back, a wave of blazing electrical light was generated, and Chen Xiang also spitted out a mouth of blood. Liao Xiaoyun, I won't let you rest. Back then, it was you who first trampled on my dignity. Chen Xiang let out a loud shout as he fiercely circulated the demon-devouring technique. Liao Xiaoyun felt the thunder soul in his body gradually leaving his body, which shocked him a lot. He never thought that Chen Xiang would know how to absorb martial souls from others' bodies. What are you doing? Liao Xiaoyun was absolutely terrified. His hideous face was full of terror. Nothing important. I am just taking something that doesn't belong to you. Chen Xiang sneered. He knew that Liao Xiaoyun must suffer a lot when he merged with his Thunder Soul, thus he would also suffer extreme pain as the Thunder Soul left his body. Furthermore, Chen Xiang devoured his Thunder Soul in an extremely fast rate. The pain of his Thunder Soul being sucked out caused Liao Xiaoyun to fall to mad. The true qi within his body was surging around wildly, as if it was about to explode. Chen Xiang was suffering as well. Not only did he have to endure Liao Xiaoyun's fierce attacks, he also had to endure the pain of the Thunder Soul entering his body. Right now, he could only temporarily suppress the Berserk Thunder Soul inside his body, which was barely achieved with his and Long Shui's magic power. In just a short moment, Liao Xiaoyun's handsome face was distorted by pain and became extremely ugly. Chen Zhang's 5 fingers had already left his body. Looking at the 5 bloody holes in his stomach, Liao Xiaoyun's eyes were bloodshot as he roared ferociously at Chen Xiang, you demon! You devoured my Thunder Soul, you demon! Liao Xiaoyun's entire body was in intense pain, but there was still a powerful surge of thunder attribute true qi within his body. Right now, he was even more berserk. This crazy man ferociously struck at Chen Shang a few more times, and the lightning he released became even thicker and more berserk. Chen Shang only devoured Liao Xiaoyun's thunder soul. He was still unable to take Liao Xiaoyun's power. If he forced to do it, it would only result in his body exploding and his death. But now, even if he devoured merely the thunder soul, he was almost unable to bear it. Besides, he borrowed Long Shui's power to launch the series of fierce attacks, and her power was almost used up. If he did not stop, he would return to his original strength. If so, he would definitely be blown to pieces by Liao Xiaoyun's berserk thunder. Chapter 525, Seizing the Soul Part 2. Liao Xiaoyun fell into a berserk state. He was constantly erupting the energy in his body, making him stronger. Even with the protection of black tortoise armament armor, Chen Zhang's blood was still surging from the violent thunder. Let's leave now. We still have chances in the future. I cannot hold on much longer. Long Shui hurriedly urged Chen Shang to leave. Because it was a fusion process, she wouldn't give all her power to Chen Shang, partly for herself and to protect Chen Shang. Let's go. Bai Yuyu coldly shouted. She did not want Chen Shang to put himself in danger. Now that Chen Shang had achieved his goal of making Liao Xiaoyun seriously injured and obtaining his thunder soul, Chen Shang was reluctant to leave. He snorted and started running fast. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared from this messy place. There was indeed a chance for him to kill Liao Xiaoyun, and that was a very rare opportunity. However, if he failed to hit Liao Xiaoyun, then his strength would be depleted, and at that time, Liao Xiaoyun would launch a counterattack and killed him. Therefore, Long Shui and Bai Yuyu couldn't let him take the risk. Chen Shang, I will do whatever it takes to make you beg for death. Liao Xiaoyun's hair was disheveled and his eyes were red. He raised his head and laughed harshly. That vicious voice spread for hundreds of miles, and almost everyone in the Demon Subduing Academy could hear it. As long as one was not deaf, he or she could tell that Liao Xiaoyun was infuriated by Chen Shang. This caused everyone to be confused, because Chen Zhang's strength was only at a level that he could not force Liao Xiaoyun to make such an oath. Chen Shang hid far away and coldly snorted, "What did he do to me back then? I haven't gotten it back yet." The moment Long Shui's power left Chen Zhang's body, he immediately felt a sharp pain. Even so, he still had to endure it because there was a thunder soul that could explode at any time in his body. Right now, he needed to quickly find Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan. Chen Shang was worried that Liao Xiaoyun would try to kill the two ladies. Previously, Liao Xiaoyun might have some misgivings, but now that he was enraged, he would do anything to deal with him. With Long Shui's help, Chen Shang quickly found out where the two girls were located. Enduring the pain, he started to run for them. Both Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan seemed serious in a forest. When they heard Liao Xiaoyun's furious voice, they couldn't help but worry about Chen Shang. At this moment, they really wanted to find out what had happened. There was a great battle between experts in the Demon Subduing Academy, and Liao Xiaoyun was enraged by Chen Shang. They could not help but linking the two things together. When Chen Shang entered the forest, Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan immediately jumped down from the tree. When they saw Chen Shang arriving with a pale face, they hurriedly flew over and supported him. The two ladies felt sad of his situation. "Brother, what exactly happened?" Leng Yulan frowned as she wiped the sweat off Chen Zhang's forehead. Chen Shang hurriedly grabbed the hands of the two ladies and solemnly said, "Let's leave this place first. For now, there's nothing for us to do." Liao Xiaoyun went into a frenzy for a while before regaining his senses and chasing after the aura left behind by Chen Shang. Only now did he realize that Chen Shang did not take the opportunity to kill him because he did not have the ability to. He's coming. Although this guy is injured, the true qi in his body is very thick. Long Shui shouted in surprise. Chen Shang, who was originally pulling the two ladies, immediately stopped running. He took out the Luotian gate and activated it, opening up a spatial gate. Seeing the spatial gate, Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan didn't have the chance to be surprised before they were pulled by Chen Shang into it. The spatial gate disappeared as they entered, leaving no target for Liao Xiaoyun who had arrived later. Chen Zhang's aura suddenly disappeared, which caused Liao Xiaoyun to roar out again. "It's safe." Chen Shang looked at the boundless sea in front of him and let out a long sigh. At this moment, he was already exhausted. The thunder soul that was suppressed in his body also gradually became violent. Chen Shang passed through the Luotian gate and arrived at a small island that was quite far away from the king's continent. Even though Leng Yulan and Shui Xian had many questions in their hearts, they didn't ask out. Instead, they placed the powerless Chen Shang in a more comfortable place. Brother, how could you go for Liao Xiaoyun? It's too risky. Even the usually bustle Leng Yulan knew that Chen Shang should not do this. That's right. You scared me to death. Shui Shenxian was indeed frightened by Chen Zhang's appearance to the point that her face turned pale. Chen Shang grabbed Shui Shenxian's jade-like hand and faintly smiled, I'm fine now. No matter what happens later, don't worry. That's a very normal thing. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Zhang's eyebrows tightly knitted together. He knew that he could not suppress the Thunder Soul any longer. At that time, he would need to fuse with it. He already possessed the Heaven and Earth Fire Soul, while he wasn't sure what rank the Thunder Soul was, but it was very strong. Thinking about the pain of fusing with this martial spirit caused Chen Shang to feel endless fear. What's going to happen? Leng Yulan's face was filled with anxiety. This was the first time she had seen Chen Shang like this, which made her extremely worried. I am going to fuse with a Thunder Soul. The process will be very painful, but I already get experience, so you don't have to worry about me. Chen Shang said. He had fused with martial spirits twice and was very experienced. Thus, he believed that he would definitely be able to succeed in doing so. Hearing that he was going to fuse with a Thunder Soul, Shui Shenxian was quite frightened. Chen Shang once told her that fusing with the Fire Soul was extremely painful. Even her master, Lu Menjie, couldn't bear it. However, it was not the time to worry. Shui Shenxian must calm down. Her delicate eyebrows creased, as she stood up and looked around, then discovered a large mountain and a small forest on this island. Yulan, take Shang into the forest first. We'll work together to make a cave in that mountain. He cannot be disturbed while fusing with the Thunder Soul. Shui Shenxian calmly said. Leng Yulan also had a lot of experience, so she quickly calmed down. The most important thing was to get Chen Shang out of this predicament. Right now, they had no one to rely on but themselves. At this moment, Chen Zhang's entire body was powerless as he let out a helpless sigh. Leng Yulan picked him up and giggled, Big brother, I didn't imagine I would pick you up like this. Yulan, you go first. I will erase all traces of us here. Shui Shenxian was extremely cautious. She walked behind Leng Yulan and used some special methods to eliminate off their smell and footprints. After that was the opening of the cave. The two girls used their demon-subduing force and their thick true qi to quickly create a cave. At this moment, Chen Shang was groaning in pain and his body was surrounded by a layer of electricity. Shui Shenxian kissed Chen Zhang's lips, her eyes full of worry. She softly said, Dear Shang, you must hold on. After Leng Yulan carried Chen Shang into the cave, Shui Shenxian cleaned up all the traces left behind by them. Then, she set up an illusory magic array at the cave entrance to conceal the entrance and the sound inside. Chapter 526, Love in a Cave. Inside the cave that was illuminated by glowing stones, Chen Shang was lying on the ground covered by a blanket. His body was twitching slightly. As the Thunder Soul slowly broke free from his suppression, his pain gradually intensified. Seeing Chen Shang endure such a kind of pain, Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan were both moved and suffered. But right now, they could do nothing but watch Chen Shang enduring the pain. Chen Shang had fused with Fire Soul for 2 times. Even though he was in extreme pain, he was still able to bear it. He knew how to fuse with the Thunder Soul. The Thunder Soul was very strong, but it was not as powerful as the Heavenly and Earth Fire Soul he had fused before. As Chen Shang began to circulate his black tortoise body strengthening technique, his pain lessened a lot, but it still hurt. While Chen Shang cultivated his flesh body, he also practiced the 9 revolving dragon divine technique to improve his soul, in a hope of maintaining the improvement of his physical body and soul in a same rate. Brother, what can I do to help you? Leng Yulan was kneeling beside Chen Shang and tightly hugged this struggling man. Her face was full of worry, so anxious that her eyes were bursting with tears. She was originally an extremely strong woman, but now she was crying from the pain Chen Shang was suffering. Leng Yulan did not know that Chen Shang was fusing with a Thunder Soul, nor did she know how much pain he had to endure during the process. However, Shui Shenxian was very clear of that. She was biting her lip and said to Leng Yulan, Yulan, he is fusing with a Thunder Soul. The process is extremely painful, and once he made it, he will become even stronger. Sister Shenxian, you're smarter than me. Please think of an idea. Big brother is about to die from pain. Leng Yulan got up and held onto Shui Shenxian's hand, tears rolling down her face. Seeing the white-haired beauty crying, Chen Shang clenched his teeth and said, Yulin, don't worry about me. I'm fine, I can take it. Chen Shang was telling the truth. Right now, he felt that the Thunder Soul was much easier to deal with than the 2 Fire Souls he fused earlier. But, when I see you in such pain, my heart hurts a lot as well. Lang Yulin said while wiping her tears. Shui Shenxian sighed. She wiped the tears off Lang Yulin's face and softly said, Yulin, you go guard the cave entrance. I have a plan. What plan? Lang Yulin's face immediately lit up with joy as she asked in a hurry. Just do what I said. Go guard the entrance. Shui Shenxian, face suddenly flushed red, appearing extremely shy. Of course, Lang Yulin could see her current bashful posture. Although Lang Yulin was curious, she knew that Shui Shenxian did not want her to see anything. However, to alleviate Chen Zhang's pain, she could only obediently go to the cave entrance. It was only a couple feet away. Shenxian, what are you going to do? When Chen Shang saw Shui Shenxian's bashful and charming appearance, his heart involuntarily trembled. He couldn't help but think of something that caused him to suddenly forget about the pain. Shui Shenxian's face blushed even more. She slowly took off her snow-white dress. Chen Shang, who was in an intense pain a moment ago, seemed suddenly to forget about the pain. He stared fixedly at her graceful posture of undressing. Seeing Shui Shenxian's pair of snow-white rabbits suddenly jump out, Chen Shang swallowed his saliva. Although it wasn't the first time he saw them, under this hazy light, Shui Xian took off her white dress slowly, appearing even more seductive and beautiful. Very quickly, all of her snow-white dress was taken off. Her beautiful jade-like body was dazzling, as if it was releasing a white multicolored glow. Under the dim light, her slender and delicate waist, plump and round chest, and delicate and beautiful body were fascinating landscapes, appearing to be holy and beautiful under the vague light. Shui Shenxian smiled faintly at the stunned Chen Shang. Her smile was just like 100 flowers blooming at the same time. Is this my fairy wife? Chen Shang knew what Shui Shenxian was going to do. His heart was filled with anticipation, but he couldn't bear to blaspheme his fairy-like wife. Observing Chen Zhang's fiery eyes and thinking about what would happen in a moment, Shui Shenxian's face turned shy. Her jade-like body turned red and seductive. Her hazy and charming actions played the watcher's mind. Lang Yulin watched from not too far away, but she felt extremely puzzled. She never thought that Chen Shang was no longer painstaking or exerting sounds of pain just as Shui Shenxian took off her clothes. She wasn't a man, so she definitely had no idea of that. Shenxian, although Chen Shang really wanted to hug his beautiful and moving fairy wife, he knew that he was in a bad situation and might harm Shui Shenxian. Stop it, I'm your wife. I'm already yours, Shui Shenxian said softly. Her limpid eyes were filled with love for him. She bent down and slowly untied Chen Zhang's clothes. Staring at the pair of jade rabbits hanging in front of his eyes, Chen Shang really wanted to take a bite. At this moment, his evil flame suddenly rose up from his abdomen and ignited his entire body, suppressing the pain of fusing with the Thunder Soul. It was not until then that Lang Yulin got aware of what Shui Shenxian's plan. Shui Shenxian had tell her something between men and women. At that time, she had only felt a little embarrassed and curious, but now that she could see with her own eyes, which made her extremely curious. Yulin is still watching. Chen Zhang's clothes had already been taken off by Shui Shenxian. He didn't expect that the first time of his sexual contact with a girl was dominated by the girl. Does it matter? Lang Yulin asked in confusion. Of course. Turn around, don't look. Chen Shang yelled. He suddenly felt that the malevolent part of his lower body was being held by Shui Xian's jade-like hand, which led him to let out a groan. Chen Shang sighed to himself. He was too useless. His first time was being led by a woman. He felt very humiliated of it. Seeing Shui Shenxian holding that big cock, Lang Yulin was only curious as to why a man's lower part was different from hers, that a man had such a big thing that was usually unexposed. Shui Shenxian also didn't expect that she would be so bold as to take the initiative to do such a shameful thing. At this moment, her jade-like body also slightly heated up, and her face blushed and alluring. Her shy posture turned him on even more. Chen Shang brutally embraced the beauty into his arms. He ignored the pain on his body and crazily pressed the beautiful girl beneath him. Although he was already on the verge of losing his sanity, he knew that he had to give Shui Shenxian a beautiful memory. He suddenly became gentle, and used the back of his hand to gently caress Shui Shenxian's shy face before kissing her warmly. Shui Shenxian was extremely happy as she found her act working. At this moment, she was also crazily sucking the liquid in Chen Zhang's mouth, and twisted her fragrant tongue with that of Chen Shang. Chen Shang kissed Shui Shenxian as he stroked her white breasts. When both of them reached an orgasm, they were already gasping for breath and became pretty turned on. Shenxian, I'm coming in. Chen Shang muttered to himself, his voice trembling with excitement. Yes. Shui Shenxian's eyes blurred as she replied. She was filled with anticipation and a bit of fear, her mood was extremely complex. It did not take long for Chen Shang to find the right place to insert his cock. Ah, it hurts, easy. Shui Shenxian let out a pained cry. Lang Yulin was enchanted as she saw them making love. She now knew why Chen Shang asked her to turn around. Even though she couldn't see anything clearly in the hazy light, it slowly made her feel a little shy, especially after observing Shui Shenxian snorted painfully following a beautiful moans, that she felt an indescribable feeling in her heart. Chapter 527, A Naive White-Haired Beauty. Even though the cave was simple and crude, it was full of love and romance. The sounds of chastity and gasps echoed throughout the cave, while a woman's groan a man's gasps could be heard. Chen Shang and Shui Shenxian were wrapped around each other as if they were the only two people in this world. They were completely immersed in the joy of love and ecstasy, as if they were a unity. Deeply diving in the pleasure, they forgot everything else in the world. Lang Yulin sat by the entrance and used a stone to draw a picture on the ground with her small mouth slightly pursed. She couldn't understand why Shui Shenxian and Chen Shang would be so happy, but for her, it was very boring and embarrassing. If she was an ordinary woman, she would be so shy that she would want to find a hole to burrow into, but Lang Yulin didn't think so. In her eyes, this was just something she had never seen before, and she observed it now, thus the novelty lapsed very soon. It was precisely because of this that Shui Shenxian was not worried about Lang Yulin at all. She knew her very well, so it would not be a big deal even if Lang Yulin were to take a look. However, the two girls in Chen Zhang's ring, as well as Long Shui the little dragon girl, were different. They were quietly humming, especially Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu whose faces were so red like they were bleeding. Although they had lived for a long time, they had not gotten any sexual experience before, nor did they know what it felt like, but they knew how comfortable it was. Sister, this little scoundrel will come frequently in the future. There will be a second time when he does it once. It is truly a torture for us. Su Meiyao coquettishly snorted. Bai Yuyu suddenly gave an ambiguous smile. Sister, do you want to try it out with him? He's good, at least not disgusting. Quote. Su Meiyao's eyes were wide open. Sister, you've changed too much. Bai Yuyu gathered her beautiful hair and gave a gentle smile on her ice-cold face. Can you promise not to be taken advantage of by this little scoundrel in the future? Who knows what will happen in the future? Anyway, I know this little rascal must want to take advantage of us. He is always that bad. Su Meiyao snorted. When she thought about the time when Chen Shang watched her and Bai Yuyu's bare body, her face would heat up. To be honest, I still feel so good kissing last time. A sweet smile appeared on Bai Yuyu's face. After being together with Bai Yuyu for so long, this was the first time Su Meiyao saw such a cold and noble beauty with such a seductive expression. Chen Shang didn't know how long he spent with Shui Shenxian. He only felt an incomparably comfort and pleasure assaulting his heart, making him feel extremely comfortable. At this moment, both of them were very tired. They tightly hugged each other and fell asleep. Both of them had experienced a sharp pain, but after that, they enjoyed the wonderful and intoxicating joy of the peak, which caused the lovers to throw away all their worries and sleep nicely. Seeing that Chen Shang was fine, Lang Yulin let out a sigh of relief. She secretly said in her heart, could it be that Sister Shenxian not allowing me to sleep with brother naked because she was afraid of us doing something like this? Men are really strange. They would be very different as they see beautiful women. Last time when Big Brother saw me naked, he appeared to be eager to throw me down. Big Brother is indeed a rascal. No wonder the master called him that every day. Master is a great beauty. Could it be that brother has done something to her? The bored Lang Yulin couldn't help but to let her imagination run wild. A night passed. Chen Shang had unconsciously fused with the Thunder Soul, which surprised Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu a lot. They never imagined that under such circumstances, Chen Shang would be drugged and easily fuse with the Thunder Soul. When Chen Shang and Shui Shenxian woke up, they saw Lang Yulin sitting at the side with her eyes wide open and curiously looking at them in an embrace. Originally, Chen Shang wanted to linger with Shui Shenxian for some while, but he was merging with his Thunder Soul, while Lang Yulin was here, which made him extremely embarrassed. When Shui Shenxian saw Lang Yulan looking at them with a curious gaze, she felt bashful but at the same time found it funny. Huh, which one of you is injured? Lang Yulan shouted as she looked at the bloodstained white blanket. This caused Shui Shenxian to be embarrassed. In the meanwhile, Chen Shang released some water to rinse off the liquid left behind after the love between the two of them. Chen Shang couldn't help blushing while Lang Yulan stared at his balls. Brother, what is it? Why don't I have it? Lang Yulan asked curiously. Her query caused Shui Shenxian to laugh involuntarily. She knew that Lang Yulan didn't know anything, so she didn't have any scruples. After joining with Chen Shang, Shui Shenxian finally felt that she was Chen Zhang's wife. Moreover, she wasn't as conservative as before. She pinched Chen Zhang's waist and said with a sweet smile, "Your sister asked what those two things are. Answer her." Chen Shang hurriedly wrapped a piece of cloth around himself. He was worried that Lang Yulan would reach out to grab it. As he cleaned Shui Shenxian's jade-like body, the evil flame in his body rose once again, then a small tent appeared in his upper part, caused Shui Shenxian to snort. "That's my secret weapon," Chen Shang gave a vague answer. He could not understand that Lang Yulan knew nothing of men and women after staying such a long time with Shui Shenxian. Besides, her breasts were slightly bigger than that of Shui Shenxian. Lang Yulan's eyes immediately lit up. "Brother, you have two of them. Can you give me one to play with?" "Ha!" Shui Shenxian laughed out loud. Her snow rabbits were shaking, while Bai Yu and Su Meiyao in the ring also giggled. Chen Shang was completely speechless. He rubbed Shui Shenxian's sparkling chest before hastily putting on his clothes, after which he solemnly said, "Yulan, you can't take them. They are the root of my life. I was born with them. I didn't know how you grew up. How could you be so naive? Normally, you look so domineering, but now. Why don't I have them?" Lang Yulan said gloomily as she scratched her white-haired head. "Don't you know what the dicker balls are when you scold people?" Chen Shang suddenly felt the need to teach his innocent little sister a lesson so that she wouldn't be tricked by others in the future. Shui Shenxian chuckled, "Yulan, those two things are bad. Men do bad things on women because they have them. How should I know? I don't have them, neither do Sister Shenxian, nor did Master teach me. The next time I see Master, I will ask her about this." Lang Yulan stuck out her tongue. "I'm not stupid, but no one has taught me." Chen Shang rubbed his chin and laughed, "That's right. The next time you meet Big Sister Menger, you must let her teach you about this until you understand everything." His words made Shui Shenxian want to ruthlessly step on him. After Shui Shenxian dressed up, she let Lang Yulan comb her hair, while she asked, "Dear Shang, how did you manage to escape from the dungeon? What happened to the Demon Subduing Academy?" Chapter 528. First attempt of spirit travel. Chen Shang told the news about Zuo Junxuan to Shui Shenxian and Lang Yulan, which shocked them a lot. They didn't expect that the war that broke out in the Demon Subduing Academy was caused by Chen Shang. "Brother, where did you get the Thunder Soul?" Lang Yulan asked as she carefully combed Shui Shenxian's hair. "Liao Xiaoyun obtained it from Zhang Quan, and I defeated him then took it over. I almost killed Liao Xiaoyun." When Chen Shang recalled this matter, he still felt not resigned. At that time, he only needed a bit more time and strength to kill Liao Xiaoyun. Almost killed Liao Xiaoyun. That required highly formidable strength, but Chen Shang was able to do it. This caused the two girls to be astonished. "I used some methods to raise my strength. It is extremely harmful to my body. You all know that if I don't kill Liao Xiaoyun, the anger in my heart will never dissipate." Chen Shang shook his head and sighed. "This is too risky." Shui Shenxian rolled his eyes and snorted. "Brother, don't do such a dangerous thing in the future. We will be very worried about you." Lang Yulan hugged Chen Shang. She didn't know what kind of feelings she had for Chen Shang. In short, she wanted to stick to Chen Shang and didn't want to part with him. Chen Shang hugged Lang Yulan and stroked her white hair as he said with a smile, "My little sister, in the future, you must promise me not to do anything dangerous. We are different. My ability to escape is invincible." HMPH. Lang Yulan let out a soft snort. Chen Zhang's ability to escape was indeed impressive. At the moment, both Shui Shenxian and Lang Yulan were unclear as to why Chen Shang brought them to the small island by the sea. The Demon Subduing Academy was located in the middle of the huge King's continent, and they had to cross a very long distance to reach the sea. "Brother, you're so amazing. Am I not able to follow you around the world in the future?" Lang Yulan said in a sad tone. "Of course not. I will bring you along if I have the chance." Chen Shang lovingly touched her cold and beautiful goose egg-shaped face. Shui Shenxian, who just became a wife, appeared even more beautiful and attractive. Her skin was moist by Chen Shang, and her cheeks were flushed red. She laughed softly. Yulin, don't underestimate yourself. We will definitely catch up to him in the future. Leng Yulin nodded her head. Her face was full of smiles when she thought about how she could run around with Chen Shang in the future. Rascal, we can't go back to the Demon Subduing Academy right now, can we? Shui Shenxian said. The great battle among the Nirvana realm martial artists was world-shaking. If Zuo Junxuan lost, he would only be courting death. We will go back in a few days. Now I need familiarize myself with the Thunder Soul. You can take Yulin to wander. I am worried that she will get stuffy. After fusing with the Thunder Soul, Chen Zhang's physical body had already advanced to the 20th phase of the demonic immortal body. His divine soul also seemed to be around 20 years old. The next step, which was also the final stage of his growth, would be the transformation phase of the divine soul. Shui Shenxian held onto Leng Yulin's hand and left, allowing Chen Shang to cultivate in peace. Little dragon, teach me the spirit traveling in 9 heavens technique. Chen Shang said. He had been willing to learn it for a long time. After mastering this technique, he would be able to know what was going on outside even if he were to hide himself. You just passed the growth stage, so you can't just wander around like me with your soul. At most, you can only move around in this island. If you go any further, your soul will probably be unstable, blown away. Long Shui said with disdain. After being reprimanded by the dragon in such a disdainful tone, Chen Shang was extremely unhappy. At the same time, he also cursed inwardly. He had trained his soul to such a degree but could only use the spirit traveling in 9 heavens technique to hop around on this small island. This was too deceitful. Whatever, teach me first. Chen Shang responded with reluctance. This small island wasn't small either, so it was quite useful if he could learn it. You little rascal, you plan to use the spirit traveling in 9 heavens technique to peep into others' baths, don't you? Long Shui pouted and said. What are you thinking about? You view me too low. It is not necessary for me to sneak a peek. As long as I open my mouth, I can casually look around. Chen Shang said smugly. HMPH, do you dare to watch Sister Meiyao and Yu taking a bath? Long Shui said with disdain. Chen Shang shrugged his shoulders. He really did not have the gut. Enough of your nonsense, hurry up and teach me the spirit traveling in 9 heaven technique. Chen Shang said. It is also a divine art. At a certain level, one could separate his or her soul from the body. Now, I can only release my consciousness and grant it with 5 senses. If your soul becomes even more powerful, in the future, you could send your soul far away, use it to attack or manipulate items, or control it to use all sorts of powerful technique with magic power. It would be very formidable. Long Shui proudly said. This divine art was exclusive in their royal dragon clan. Something suddenly appeared in Chen Zhang's mind. It was a part of the spirit traveling in 9 heavens technique. The moment it entered Chen Zhang's mind, he felt that he had already memorized the chant of this technique. It's pretty simple. Chen Shang smiled slightly. If he wanted to detach his divine sense from his body, he only needed to be quiet, strengthen his divine sense, allow it to protect itself and generate 5 senses. It felt like he was watching something with his own eyes, with the only difference that he did it with divine sense in this case. Chen Shang had a solid foundation. In order to reach the state of spirit traveling, one must first have a powerful physical body. If the physical body got disturbed, the consciousness that was released would also be affected and dissipate easily. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down. According to those methods, he turned his divine sense to a state similar to his soul, then separated it from his body, then let it go through the mountain rocks and float outside. Very quickly, he saw a blinding light in front of him, which caused him to let out a miserable scream. His head hurt, and all the consciousness he had released completely dissipated. What's going on? Chen Shang held onto his aching head and asked. He felt that he had succeeded just now because he saw sunlight, as if he had seen it with his own eyes. It was a very strange state, as if he could fly and escape without any restrictions. Your soul is too weak. The soul power you released can't withstand the sun, so it melted. You better practice at night. Soul is negative. When one is using the spirit traveling in 9 heavens technique, his divine sense will absorb a certain amount of soul power to form a fake soul. If the soul power is not strong enough, therefore, it could hardly survive under the sunlight. Long Shui said. Chen Shang didn't expect that there would be so much complex knowledge involved in the technique. This way I must wait until night. Chen Shang helplessly sighed. Little dragon, go check the situation of the Demon Subduing Academy. If Zuo Junxuan wins, we will immediately head back. Long Shui responded, I've been watching it for a while. My soul is getting stronger and stronger. Don't be surprised, this is the power of our royal dragon clan. Humans will never be able to match it. I don't believe it. One day I'll kill a royal dragon in front of you. Quote. Stop bragging, take those two beauties back to the academy. Zuo Junxuan won the battle. Long Shui said with disdain. Chapter 529. Visitors from the Heavenly Realm. Zuo Junxuan won. The message made Chen Shang overjoyed. He hurriedly rushed out of the cave to find Leng Yulan and Shui Shenxian. The two girls were playing with the water on the beach, which led their bodies wet. Their thin and tight clothes show up fascinating curves, leaving Chen Shang, who just experienced the sexual fulfillment, unconsciously turned on. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. If there is the first time, there will be the second and third. Chen Shang recalled the joy he obtained when he made love with Shui Shenxian. Chen Shang ran over and took out the Luotian gate. Dry your clothes. We're going back. The old man won. Chen Shang laughed as he greedily swept his gaze at the two ladies' alluring and moist bodies. The two ladies let out a wave of heat and instantly dried their clothes. Brother, did you bring us here last time with this thing? Leng Yulan asked curiously. Exactly. That is your brother's treasure. I rely on it to escape. Chen Shang laughed. More precious than your two balls? Leng Yulan asked with blinking eyes. Seeing Leng Yulan's serious expression, Shui Shenxian laughed coquettishly. Yulan, why do you keep thinking about your brother's balls? Chen Shang was also speechless. It was truly a terrifying thing that Leng Yulan, the violent girl, kept thinking of his balls, because she often said vulgarities like, I'll blow your balls up. This was something she learned from her father. Damned girl, I already said that those two balls are the root of my life. Go ask Sister Menger, she'll tell you in detail. Chen Shang patted her head and pinched her face. Would you not be able to pee without those two balls? Leng Yulan asked innocently, like a curious child. Chen Shang felt a headache. Didn't you often say something about catching an egg or something? That's what it means. It's the most vicious attack against a man. You can use it against others, but never to me. It is pretty severe. And, of course, I should still be able to pee even without them. You two siblings, stop chatting. Let's go back quickly. Although Shui Shenxian was smiling coquettishly, her face had completely blushed. Chen Shang suddenly had an evil idea. He wanted to sacrifice something so that Leng Yulan could experience that kind of thing personally. This way, she would learn some knowledge. Of course, he knew that Shui Shenxian would not agree for the time being, since Leng Yulan's feelings towards Chen Shang were still very vague. After entering the spatial gate, they came to the outside of the Demon Subduing Academy that had undergone a thorough change. The beautiful forest and hills were gone, everything was scorched black. Many high mountains had collapsed, and the earth was filled with cracks. However, the academy was basically intact, only two high halls of which collapsed. Chen Shang released Zuo Junxuan and was his savior. Therefore, he and the two ladies would definitely enjoy an easy life in the Demon Subduing Academy in the future. Thinking of this, he became excited and pulled the two girls' hands as he ran over. Along the way, he could see many students of the Demon Subduing Academy, their faces filled with fear and doubt. Just now, they felt as if the world was about to be destroyed, and they were still shocked by the majestic scene of battle. Seeing Chen Shang carrying two beauties running towards the academy, all the male students were filled with jealousy and envy. At this moment, the Demon Subduing Academy had already calmed down, and there were also some bold people who ran towards it like Chen Shang. For all the students of the Demon Subduing Academy, if you still want to stay in the school, then hurry up and gather at the Grand Martial Arts practice field. Zuo Junxuan's voice was full of majesty, making it impossible for others to resist. The Demon Subduing Academy was also enveloped by his might. Although many people were puzzled, they knew very well that he could have killed all of them if he wanted. The Grand Martial Arts practice field was a huge square. Normally, it was the gathering place of students at the academy, but now on the high platform laid several corpses of old men. All of them died very miserably. Some of them got their heads shattered, and others were crushed into flesh and blood. Only the principal Lu Yufeng was still alive, but her face was pale white, and her head was stepped on by Zuo Junxuan on the ground. When the students who came here saw this scene, they couldn't help but shiver in fear, since the incomparably formidable principal and those mysterious elders were all defeated by Zuo Junxuan. Everyone was immediately filled with fear towards this old man, Zuo Junxuan. This kind of strength was extremely rare in the mortal world. Many people thought that Zuo Junxuan was here to destroy the demon-subduing academy, but they felt more at ease as they saw the Chancellor Zhao Ting, Yu Baixiang and other teachers standing behind him. I am Zuo Junxuan, the former principal of the demon-subduing academy. 300 years ago, this old woman colluded with these bastards to conspire against me. They imprisoned me in the dungeon. For tens of thousands of years, my contributions to the school had been erased from the annals of history by this wicked woman. The teachers behind me can testify to this. From today onwards, I will reinstate my administration of the demon-subduing academy. Zuo Junxuan's voice was loud and clear, resonating in all directions. It was like thunder in everyone's ears, making them feel powerless. Those who don't want to stay in the academy can leave now. I will not prevent you. Many students were dissatisfied with Principal Lu Yufeng because she always protected those who violated the rules, which led those bad guys acting tyrannically in the academy and bullying the weak. Now that Zuo Junxuan had displayed his powerful strength, the crowd had no choice but to accept it. HMPH. Zuo Junxuan gave a cold snort and kicked Lu Yufeng in front of Chen Shang. Everyone was shocked again as they saw such a scene. Why did Zuo Junxuan kick Lu Yufeng to Chen Shang? Soon, everyone remembered that Chen Shang had escaped from the dungeon. They began to guess that it was Chen Shang who released Zuo Junxuan. Chen Shang, it really is you. I should never have locked you in the dungeon. Lu Yufeng said malevolently, her face full of regret. I said, I will not rest until you die. Chen Zhang's expression turned ice cold as a green light flashed in his hand and the Azure Dragon Devil Slayer appeared. A cold killing intent gushed out from the blade, causing the people around him to shiver. Lu Yufeng suddenly laughed sinisterly, but it was as if she was crying. Chen Shang, are you really going to kill me? I've already informed the Demon Suppression God Shrine. It won't take long for someone descends from the heavenly realm, and all of you will die by then. So what? Chen Shang raised his broadsword while Zuo Junxuan's expression turned serious. He knew that Lu Yufeng was telling the truth. However, he wasn't worried at all, because he could blame all of this to Chen Shang. He could claim that he killed those accomplices for revenge, and it was Chen Shang who killed Principal Lu Yufeng. Besides, the Demon Suppression God Shrine could hardly find another formidable principal if they put him down. Just as Chen Shang was about to slash down with his blade, a powerful spatial energy suddenly came from the sky. A huge cyclone appeared in the dark blue sky and an extremely powerful aura came out from it. Chapter 530, Eclipse. A threatening aura crazily surged in the sky, creating a breathtaking atmosphere that made everyone unable to breathe. A middle-aged man in a white robe suddenly appeared from within the whirlpool in a peaceful manner. The aura released by the middle-aged man was very strong. He was currently looking at Chen Shang and frowning slightly, after which a wave of pressure immediately enveloped Chen Zhang's body, almost causing him to kneel on the ground. Chen Zhang's blood rushed in all directions due to the invisible pressure. He almost vomited blood. Then he secretly clenched his teeth and circulated his dragon force. The dragon power shook within his body and dispersed the pressure, following by a highly raised slayer that fiercely chopped down. Keep him alive. The scholarly middle-aged man let out an explosive shout as he waved his hand to release a ray of light. At the same time, his entire body suddenly flashed and appeared in front of Chen Shang. He released a white light that hit Chen Shang, but Chen Shang knew ahead that he was going to make a move, so he used the water mirror technique to dodge it. The white light landed on the illusionary statue and poured into the ground. The force was highly concentrated. It straightly penetrated to deep earth and exploded beneath it, causing a considerable chaos. Just when the middle-aged man thought that he killed Chen Shang, Chen Zhang's blade had landed on Lu Yufeng's neck. Lu Yufeng's body was suppressed by a pressure. Now that her head was suddenly severed, the blood that was churning in her body spewed out. It was like a fountain as it violently sprayed onto the middle-aged man's body. The entire crowd was in an uproar. Everyone was alarmed as they looked at the fountain of blood sprinkling onto the elegant middle-aged man in white. Everyone could guess that this middle-aged man was probably sent by the Demon Suppression God Shrine of above the heavenly realm, but no one expected that Chen Shang dared to behead Lu Yufeng in front of him. This young man really got the gut. Even the elegant middle-aged man did not expect it. He originally thought that Chen Shang would stop, but at the same time Chen Shang dodged his attack, he also cut off Lu Yufeng's head. His speed was so fast that the middle-aged man was speechless. Now his body was covered by blood, and a hideous head was placed on the ground in front of him. Lu Yufeng originally thought that she had been saved and was in high spirits, but she never expected that Chen Shang would be such a bold person. Although Heavenly Realm sent a delegate down, he still dared to kill her with his saber. Everyone present swallowed their saliva. The scholarly middle-aged man was also stunned. He glared at Chen Shang and said, "You, how dare you? Go death." The middle-aged man was extremely angry. He felt like he had been provoked by an ant. He waved his hand to release a powerful energy, accompanied by a su-su sound, creating a strong shockwave as it charged towards Chen Shang. Chen Shang wanted to escape, but Zuo Junxuan suddenly leapt over. He pushed out both his palms, blocking the force into the sky, creating a gust of air and a whooshing sound. Although you are sent by the demon suppression god shrine, you should still act according to the rules of the mortal realm. You haven't figured out what's going on, while you have attacked someone who's so much weaker than you twice. If the message is leaked out, the demon suppression god shrine will definitely lose all its face. Zuo Junxuan said coldly. He wasn't afraid of that middle-aged man. Chen Shang let out a slight sigh of relief. He was terrified when that scholarly middle-aged man appeared. He did not plan on killing Lu Yufeng, but that refined middle-aged man wanted to kill him, which provoked him to make the cold-blooded decision of beheading her. Don't worry, this fellow's strength is not as strong as your master. No one could use the strength exceeding the 8th level of Nirvana realm in the mortal world, except in the profound realm. Long Shui said. Once one passed the 9th level of the Nirvana realm, he or she would be sensed by a mysterious power, then sucked into the heavenly realm. No one could escape the fate. Therefore, someone with Huang Jintian's strength could only hide in the profound realm. This elegant middle-aged man's was at most with relatively thick true qi. Otherwise, his attack would not be easily blocked by Zuo Junxuan. Zuo Junxuan had a certain amount of resentment towards the demon suppression god shrine, since it made the decision of locking him in the dungeon, thus he naturally had to protect Chen Shang at this moment. The scholarly middle-aged man looked at Lu Yufeng then Zuo Junxuan before coldly saying, Lu Yufeng colluded with some people to usurp the position and use resources of Demon Subduing Academy for her own benefits. We have already investigated this point clearly. Even though this is the case, she will not be punished to deaths. Besides, it's not that boy's turn to behead her. Quote. The middle-aged man stared at Chen Shang and shouted, My name is Zheng Chu, I was sent by the demon-suppressing god shrine of the heavenly realm to deal with the urgent matters of the demon-subduing academy. His voice shook the sky and his imposing manner caused everyone extremely uncomfortable. They all secretly hated this person called Zheng Chu. Heavenly Realm sent someone down, which was fine, but he released such a pressure to frighten them, which was intolerable. Are you from the Demon Subduing Academy? After Zheng Chu revealed his identity, his tone became even more forceful. It seemed that he had to punish Chen Shang in order to intimidate these people. Yes, Chen Shang replied. He was also prepared to escape at any time. Seeing his fearless expression, both Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulan let out a sigh of relief. Lu Yufeng should have not been executed due to her crimes, and you don't have the authority to kill her, so you have to undertake a severely punishment. Zheng Chu snapped. Punishment. Chen Zhang's brows twitched. I have a grudge against Lu Yufeng, and it is only a personal matter for me to kill her. What does that have to do with you? You bullshit. Zheng Chu was infuriated. True qi in his body exploded out, inducing to earthquake and mountains shook. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. However, he only saw a smile on Chen Zhang's face. After that, a stream of water shot out from beneath Chen Zhang's feet and Chen Shang disappeared. The water escape art of Black Tortoise divine technique allowed people to quickly escape to the place with water the closest to him. At this moment, Chen Zhang's true qi is very thick, so the speed at which he used the water escape art became even faster, allowing him to escape even further. In the blink of an eye, he had appeared in a river very far away from the Demon Subduing Academy. Bastard, how stifled I am, I don't even have the power to defense against such a guy. Chen Shang said with sacred. His strength was too weak. Not to mention those who had survived the 8 tribulations of the Nirvana realm, he couldn't even deal with 100 smelting realm martial artist. Right now, he couldn't wait to let his strength soar. Chen Shang sat by the riverbank and recovered his profound true qi, but the sky gradually darkened. He raised his head and saw that the raging flames in the sky had already been partially blocked. Eclipse. This was the first time he had seen such a scene. After observing the phenomena, he hurriedly took out his Luotian gate and looked for locations close to the Sun and Moon Island. He had obtained a map from the Medicine King, Li Tianjin, which recorded that there was the top one profound realm in the Sun and Moon Island, and it was the biggest treasure trove in the mortal realm. Inside it were many precious spiritual medicines. Li Tianjin was chased down by many people just because he got the news about this profound realm. World's top one profound realm opened only in the time of eclipse. Chen Shang had missed it once, so he absolutely could not afford to miss it this time. Chapter 531, Supreme Treasure Profound Realm. Inside the Demon Subduing Academy, raged Zheng Chu was blaming Zuo Junxuan fiercely. Actually, he couldn't punish Zuo Junxuan because Zuo had trained his demon subduing force to the 10th level. This was something that even Zheng Chu himself couldn't do, neither were many people in the heavenly realm. Moreover, the academy needed a powerful person to guard it, and Zuo Junxuan was the best candidate. Although he killed a few powerful elders, this proved that he alone could match up to those elders and Lu Yufang. I must kill this kid called Chen Shang. How dare he provoke me? He doesn't put me in his eyes at all. Zheng Chu said angrily. He never thought that Chen Shang would actually slip away from under his nose. This was also a great insult to him. Zuo Junxuan shook his head with a sigh and asked, Elder, you don't come down the Demon Subduing Academy to deal with such a trifling matter, do you? I remember that you have a high position in the Demon Suppression God Shrine. You have control over the Immortals. How could such a small matter disturb you? Zheng Chu frowned. You really know a lot of me. No wonder. You've been a principal for so long and have communicated with the Demon Suppression God Shrine many times. You've also come into contact with a lot of people from the heavenly realm, but I want to know who mentioned me to you. Haha, Elder Zheng is so young. He only spent 500 years to pass the 8th Nirvana tribulations. When people from the Demon Suppression God Shrine came and chatted with them, most of them talked about this matter. Zuo Junxuan laughed. His flattery didn't hurt at all, and it was pretty effective. It was precisely because Zheng Chu had a high position in the Demon Suppression God Shrine that he was provoked by Chen Shang over and over again when he came to the mortal realm. This made him extremely angry. Zheng Chu looked out the window and said, Do you know why the sky is suddenly dark now? Zuo Junxuan's brows furrowed as he looked out of the dark window. As the eclipse occurs, the Supreme Treasure Profound Realm would open. It's said that even the heavenly realm is interested in this mysterious Supreme Treasure Profound Realm. It seems like the tale is true. There's nothing we can do about this either. The Great War of the Three Realms is about to begin, and there is a shortage of resources. The rich resources contained within this Supreme Treasure Profound Realm can alleviate the embarrassing environment of martial artists in the bottom level of the heavenly realm. Zheng Chu nodded. Zuo Junxuan was a little dissatisfied. This is a profound realm in the mortal realm, how can you send the resources inside there to the heavenly realm? HMPH, it's not just us who are watching on it. The Fire God Shrine and other forces of the mortal realm that have people in the heavenly realm also know about the Supreme Treasure Profound Realm. You're not in the heavenly realm, so you don't know that the map of the Supreme Treasure Profound Realm is everywhere. If we don't go, others will go as well. Zheng Chu said. Really? Is there really a map? Zuo Junxuan had stayed in the mortal realm for many years, but he had only heard of the top on Profound Realm, but he didn't know the exact location. Why else do you think the upper levels would take efforts to send you here? Zheng Chu took out a map and said, It is right here. This island is called Sun Moon Island. The eclipse will last for at least a month, so we still have a month. An old man suddenly appeared in the lobby of the Divine Martial Hall on the King's continent. This is a map. We need to find the Sun Moon Island. At that time, many forces will surely rush into the Supreme Treasure Profound Realm. I want to prepare for the worst. Similarly on the King's continent, the Hall Master of the Fire God Shrine had urgently gathered all the experts of the hall. He had a map in his hands as well. Not only the ancient powers on the King's continent, all people who had ascended into the heavenly realm had also obtained the map. Many of the outstanding individuals from the sects in the mortal world would be attracted by the heavenly realm when they ascended. They did so for the benefit of their original sects. Of course, there were only a few forces that could transport goods from the mortal realm to the heavenly realm. Master, I received news from above about the top on Profound Realm under the heavens. I obtained a map of it, and now is also the time for the eclipse, thus the upper level sent me to take a look at the Supreme Treasure Profound Realm. Ji Yu Dongchen said from beside the huge crater. Then go for it. Be careful, the situation in the mortal martial realm is getting more and more complicated. It seems that no one with sufficient strength will come after me to intimidate us. Huang Jintian said. Many sects had existed for tens of thousands of years, or even more than 100,000 years, and there were some headmasters who had ascended into the heavenly realm. At this moment, they were all using their greatest strength to spread the news of the top one profound realm. But now, Chen Shang was complacent and thought that he could take the entire profound realm for his own, but he didn't know that there were many powerful old fellows rushing towards Sun Moon Island, nor did he know that the profound realm was called the Supreme Treasure Profound Realm in the heavenly realm. It's really far away. I cannot arrive at the Sun Moon Island in one go with my current strength, but need to take 10 steps. Chen Shang held onto the Luotian gate and found the location of the Sun Moon Island. This meant that Wu Kanghong had also been to the Sun Moon Island. It was completely dark, and such a state would last for a month, so Chen Shang only had a month of time. Otherwise, the top one profound realm would close, and he would have to wait until the next time to open it. Chen Shang used Luotian gate to open up a spatial gate. After entering it, he went to the sea and then continued opening the spatial gate. After 13 consecutive times, he finally arrived at the Sun Moon Island. The Sun Moon Island was a humongous round island. At this moment, there was a layer of white light surrounding it. The center of the island was gushing with an extremely dense wave of yin qi, causing people to feel incomparably cold after entering. This is indeed a strange place. The profound realm deserves the name, so as every other profound realms. Chen Shang looked in disbelief at the huge spatial rift that was slowly opening in the middle of the Sun Moon Island. From afar, it looked like a huge door that emitted a white glow as it slowly opened up. This is the legendary top one profound realm in the world. Who would have thought that I am the person who obtains it after Li Junji, the king of Dan? Chen Shang laughed and ran towards the center of Sun Moon Island. What a powerful spatial power. This profound realm isn't simple. It's very solid. If your strength isn't enough, then you must use your Luotian gate to get into it. Long Shui said. From afar, the huge crevice in the middle of the Sun Moon Island looked like a white light shooting up into the sky. However, when he walked in and took a look, the entrance was shockingly large, causing Chen Shang to feel as if it was a gate of heaven. From within, waves of dense spirit qi came out but was quickly absorbed back. What he didn't know was that there were already many top mortal martial realm martial artists rushing over fast. Moreover, he was very familiar with these old fellows. I have something good to eat. Long Shui giggled. Chen Shang was very generous to her right now because he could quickly create a large amount of elixirs with the divine liquid, so he had a rich reservation. Chen Shang walked into the huge crevice, then stepped into a passage filled with white light. After he stepped out of the passageway, he heard the crisp roar of beasts and an incomparably dense spirit qi rushed out. What is going on with this profound realm? I remember that the days and nights in the profound realm should be the same as they are outside. It's in an eclipse right now in outside world. Chen Shang looked at the countless green mountains before him in bewilderment. At this moment, he felt that it wasn't a profound realm, but a great world. Chapter 532, The Sun Moon Island. After taking a few steps forward in a plateau, Chen Zhang's expression suddenly changed, because he suddenly felt not able to circulate his true qi as if it had been cut off from him. He could feel the true qi in his body, but could not to use it. It was the same situation when he was in the profound martial realm. Even Long Shui, who had a large amount of memory inheritance, did not know how the profound realm was formed. However, it could be confirmed that some of the profound realm had been modified by some powerful martial artist by adding some powerful formations and restrictions. It's too unsettling that I cannot use my true qi. Chen Shang took out the Azure Demon Subduing Slayer. The weight of this divine saber was still there and increased as his strength elevated. I can also use Black Tortoise Armament Armor. Chen Shang released his Black Tortoise Armament Armor, wrapping it around his body, which made him extremely majestic and handsome. Even after confirming that these life-saving items were usable, Chen Shang still couldn't feel at ease. He took out the Luotian gate and activated with his divine sense, but Luotian gate could not extract the true qi within his body. Such a formidable spatial weapon was also constrained. We got some trouble. Luotian gate was the thing that Chen Shang used to flee. He was in the top one profound realm in the world, while no one knew the dangers within. Thus he had to be considerate with his actions. Right now, he could only use his magic power and divine sense. He easily transformed into a bird by performing the 72 transformation technique, which was a method he used to conceal himself, especially in the forest. After switching back to human force, he began to spell the chant and released out his magic power, then spirit chi raised up in the sky far away and crazily gathered together. That was the heavenly dragon magic seal. Although it was unable to extract the true chi in his body, the technique could condense the spirit chi in the sky for him to take attack. However, the process would take some time. Hearing the gloomy howls coming from all directions, Chen Shang lightly took a breath. I'm going all out. The further away he got from the entrance, the heavier he felt, as if his body was pressed down by 1,000 pounds. It seems like I've truly entered the top 1 profound realm now. There was actually such a strong pressure. If the demon beasts and plants here are also affected by this pressure, then they must be strong. Chen Shang was slightly excited in his heart, since the magical flowers and grass that were able to survive in this environment must have a supreme quality. Of course, the beasts would also be stronger. It's about 20 times gravity here, which means the gravity you are currently bearing is as heavy as 20 of your weight. Long Shui's voice was somewhat surprised. The time is also different from the outside. 10 days inside only count for 1 day outside. This is a world of high quality. The better the quality of a world, the harder it would be to collapse. For example, the heavenly realm was much more stable than the mortal realm and had a dense amount of spirit chi. 20 times gravity. I feel nothing different. Chen Shang faintly smiled. He felt excited as he thought of finding rare elixirs here. Walking into the depths of the forest, Chen Shang discovered that all the plants here had very strong vitality, and their recovery ability was also formidable. He hacked a knife into the tree trunk, but it only took a moment for it to recover. Beside, the trunk was very solid, that he could only cut in a little bit of it. What a pity! If only I could absorb the vital spirit chi here. Chen Shang circulated his Tai Chi dragon subduing technique, but he was unable to absorb nothing. Try devouring demonic art, Bai Yuyu said. Although the devouring demonic art was not an offensive technique, for Bai Yuyu it was a technique that was even more powerful than many divine and demonic arts, since it devoured. In fact, Chen Shang took a lot of advantages of learning the devouring demonic art. What surprised Chen Shang was that the moment he used the devouring demonic art, a large amount of spirit chi suddenly entered his body to his dantian, then began to refine itself, but he still could not use it. These spirit chi contains a very rich vitality that can accelerate the growth of the elixir. While you have not found even a single useful elixir after walking for half a day. It seems like the elixir should be planted in a designated place. Su Meiyao said. She was very familiar with spiritual medicines, and she observed that no elixir was present among the large amount of plants along the way. Once again, Chen Shang took out the map of the top 1 profound realm. The map merely showed nothing but a route to the Sun Moon Island, while Chen Shang had watched it for many times. But now that he had taken out the map suddenly floated out and spread out horizontally. On it slowly appeared a few golden spirit patterns, after which the surrounding spirit chi flowed into the map, causing Chen Shang to be dumbstruck. Li Tianjin is indeed a mythical person. Even the map he drew is so magical. Chen Shang sighed in admiration. Right now, the map had already turned gold, and on it was a simple map of this top 1 profound realm. One of the locations was marked with a red dot, which Chen Shang guessed was the location of the elixir. This profound realm is really huge. It's actually even bigger than the King's continent. Chen Shang looked at the map and deduced the size of the profound realm. The place he was currently at was the edge of it. Even though he had walked for more than half a day, he was still at the edge, whereas the red dot located on the northeastern edge of the realm. He was at the southernmost point, while he could not use the vermilion bird fire wings nor true chi. This way it would take him a very long time to get there, at least half a year for the round trip. Fortunately the rate of time elapsing here was different than outside, otherwise it would be impossible for him to arrive at the red dot within a month. Half a day after Chen Shang entered the realm, a large group of people had gathered in Sun Moon Island that was illuminated by white light. These people were bustling, talking, laughing, and also mocking each other. They were the powerful martial artists from numerous continents, in a total of 70 to 8 individuals. Ji Yudongchen, Lian Mingdong, and Xiao Ziliang were the only ones who came from the Chenwu continent. The remaining people were all quite surprised at the time, especially not seeing Lu Menger, the female emperor, and Hua Shangyu from the Dan Garden. Lu Menger's heavenly kingdom of divine weapon had a very long history, while Hua Shangyu was a famous alchemist grand master of the mortal martial realm, but none of them were coming. They didn't know that Lu Menger and Hua Shangyu were both preparing for the 8th Nirvana tribulation. The Hall Master of Fire God Shrine snorted coldly as he saw Ji Dongchen. The kid from your extreme martial sect does not come. This is really unexpected. I wish to bring him here as well, but I couldn't find him. Ji Dongchen smiled lightly. You're talking about Chen Shang, ain't you? This brat offended an impressive fellow. An imposing aura suddenly enveloped them, causing the 70 or 80 experts to be shocked. This level of aura was something that they had only seen when facing Huang Jintian. However, this person wasn't Huang Jintian, but someone else. Zuo Junxuan and Zheng Chu had arrived. Their two auras were released at the same time, which intimated many people. I am Zuo Junxuan, the principal of Demon Subduing Academy. Zuo Junxuan smiled. I am Zheng Chu, a temporary elder of the Demon Subduing Academy. I just came down from the heavenly realm and saw Chen Shang killing the former principal of the academy. If any of you have a trace of Chen Shang, please let me know. I will pay a great award for it. Zheng Chu could not conceal the anger on his face when he talked about Chen Shang. It was pretty stunning for those people to see a person coming down from the heavenly realm. Immediately, all of their show reverence as they looked at Zheng Chu. Chapter 533, Black Stone Dragon. Seeing the expressions of the crowd, Zheng Chu was full of pride showing on his face. From his perspective, those who born in the mortal realm would definitely be inferior to him, thus he looked down on them from the bottom of his heart. Of course, no one thought that Chen Shang would offend such a fellow. Everyone was just reminiscing with old friends and flew towards that huge white crevice. They went inside to get those elixir, and if necessary, they might even fight with their old friends. After the experts entered the top one profound realm, they immediately felt that something wasn't right. Their expressions changed greatly, and they were all shocked because they couldn't use their true qi. If that was the case, then they could only rely on their own physical body to deal with the danger. Moreover, there was a certain amount of gravity in this place. Many people were considering whether or not to leave this place, because the occasional beast roar carried a lot of power, whereas it would be extremely dangerous if they got sieged by demons and beasts while not able to use true qi. Soon enough, someone made the decision to retreat, then quite a few people followed out. However, there were still 50 experts that didn't fear at all. The top one profound realm was huge. The crowd dispersed and chose their own paths and searched for the rich resources. They knew that they didn't have much time here, so they immediately scattered. At this moment, Chen Shang was walking through a canyon which was rather gloomy and dark. Beside, there were some caves in the walls of the canyon, as if there were something powerful hidden inside. His pace suddenly became very slow, and he didn't make any sound as he walked. His aura was also restrained, because he felt that the danger was right in front of him in the huge caves on both sides of the mountain wall. This aura seems to be the Black Stone Dragon. Long Shui suddenly exclaimed. Black Stone Dragon? You mean the creature evolving from the Black Stone Python? Chen Zhang's heart skipped a beat. This sort of thing was extremely powerful. Exactly. Long Shui reminded him. Be careful, kill them if you could, then take out their beast cores. You can eat their beast cores. Just as Long Shui finished her words, Chen Shang observed a black shadow suddenly flying out from a cave and came over. Chen Shang had been on alert the entire time. When he saw something attacking him, he evaded and simultaneously took out the Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer. On the other hand, the Black Stone Dragon did not run into Chen Shang, but plunged into the rocky ground. Without a python's body, black stone-like scales covering its body, horns on its head, and claws, the creature looked like a small dragon. However, it was very different from a dragon, but it had a domineering aura that the python did not possess. Even Chen Shang could clearly feel its physical strength from the side. The Black Stone Dragon let out a roar and swept its tail towards Chen Shang. Not only did Chen Shang not dodge, he even slashed down with great speed. Even though he did not use true qi, the speed of his blade was still as fast as before. The blade sliced through the air as if it wanted to split a space crack. It ruthlessly smashed against the huge tail that was sweeping over. The edge of the blade hacked down on the stiff tail, causing the Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer to let out a dragon's roar and a black clump of soil. Chen Shang was also blown away by the impact and crashed into the wall, but the Black Stone Dragon also let out a painful cry. The enraged creature roared and opened its bloody mouth to swallow Chen Shang. Its speed was as fast as the wind, and the burst of energy caused the stones on the ground to be reduced to dust. That's it, you can't use true qi either. Quote, Chen Shang suddenly waved his arm fiercely and steadily, just like waves of wind of saber, with an invincible power as he rushed towards the black stone dragon's bloody mouth. The fierce power exploded from the azure dragon devil slaughtering slayer and entered the black stone dragon's mouth, instantly shattering its teeth, pouring into its throat, and then rushing back to its tail. Although the black stone dragon had a sturdy skin, it was extremely weak inside. After its long body was thoroughly attacked by such a wave of formidable force, everything inside got destroyed. The black stone dragon suffered a lot as it let out waves of mournful cries and rolled around. Thanks to Long Shui's sense, Chen Shang found the location of the black rock dragon's beast core. He raised his divine blade high up in the air and chopped the beast down to 2 halves. Extremely hot blood was flooding out with very dense sense of life, then a fist-sized round crystal shivering green light came out along with its blood and organs. Such small, Chen Shang frowned. However, when he held it in his hand, he discovered that the beast core of the black stone dragon contained very pure energy, which made him surprised, since such a power should be in the level of soul martial realm, hence the creature that carried it must be a profound beast. Be careful, Long Shui suddenly reminded him. Chen Shang also felt a wave of air currents coming over. He leapt 100 feet away and saw another black stone dragon flying out of a cave. What made him amazed was that these black stone dragons were all fighting one-on-one. However, he would not be afraid even if all of them came out together. Currently, he already understood the strength of these creatures. They could not use true qi, so their strength would be greatly reduced. They could only rely on a powerful physical body to attack, but Chen Shang had the Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer which could cut through diamonds, not to mention these rock-like scales. Roar! The black stone dragon let out a roar as its thick body suddenly became extremely nimble. Its speed was as fast as lightning as it pounced towards Chen Shang. Chen Shang only let out a sneer. He didn't use the Azure Dragon Demon Slaughtering Slayer. Instead, he threw a palm at the huge bloody mouth, following by 5 consecutive explosions. Even though he couldn't use true qi, a surge of energy had been generated in Chen Zhang's body. One could only possess such kind of energy flow after he trained his body for thousands of times. At that moment, Chen Shang utilized this sort of energy to perform demon subduing force. At the same time the sound of demon subduing force was heard, it pierced through the black stone dragon's throat. After that, waves of blood mist bursted forth from its throat to tail. It was totally blown by the demon subduing force. Before Chen Shang could take out the beast core, another black shadow flashed over. Perfect timing, Chen Shang took a step forward and unleashed another palm. The demon subduing force exploded again and pierced through the black stone dragon's rigid rock scales, knocking out its beast core. After losing its beast core, the black stone dragon died instantly. One after another, these black stone dragons were so stupid that Chen Shang could not believe. In just a short period of time, there had been 30 of them coming to their deaths. Chen Shang used either his demon subduing force or his divine saber to slaughter those huge black stone dragons one by one. After killing them, Chen Shang took out their beast cores and concealed their corpses properly. Someone's coming, it's Zuo Junxuan and Zheng Chu. Long Shui suddenly shouted with a surprised voice. Chapter 534, Reversion. Although this canyon was not a necessary passageway, it was the shortest route. It was obvious that Zuo Junxuan and Zheng Chu had the map of the top 1 profound realm for them to came. It surprised Chen Shang a lot that there were other people entering this top 1 profound realm through exactly the same path he took. We'll be arriving very soon. These 2 guys seem to be riding on some sort of powerful magical equipment, so they move very fast. Long Shui said. Chen Shang hurriedly jumped into the cave of a black rock dragon and hid within. Shui, can you please delay Zuo Junxuan, or lure him away, which would be the best? Although I'm this guy's savior, I'm worried that he will stop me from killing Zheng Chu later. Chen Shang said as he clenched his fist tightly. He must make use of this opportunity to slaughter Zheng Chu. No problem. As Long Shui spoke, she turned into a ray of white light and flew out of Chen Zhang's body. At this moment, Chen Shang saw Long Shui rushing towards a rapidly approaching object and accurately striking Zuo Junxuan, knocking him off his feet. Following that, a huge tornado with a white glow suddenly appeared. Zuo Junxuan was sucked into the tornado before he was flung far away. That's all I can do. Long Shui did it aptly, causing Chen Shang to click his tongue. In just a short moment, she had taken Zuo Junxuan away. Zheng Chu came down from the heavenly realm. Chen Shang was worried that Zuo Junxuan would join forces with Zheng Chu to attack him in order to secure his position as principal. At that time, it would be difficult for Chen Shang to make a move. Zheng Chu stopped. Only then did Chen Shang see that Zheng Chu was riding a huge rune which was glowing and flying very fast. This was the first time Chen Shang had seen something like this. Is that black stone dragon? It stinks down there. Zheng Chu noticed that there were many traces of blood on the black rock dragon. He frowned slightly. Who is it? Don't be so sneaky. Zheng Chu quickly came to the conclusion that someone killed many black stone dragons here before. This canyon led to the place where the spiritual medicines were planted. Zheng Chu and the others had to ride powerful spiritual talismans in order to arrive here fast, but now there were individuals that had arrived earlier than them and ambushed them, which turned him surprised. It's me. Chen Shang laughed sinisterly as he summoned the hands of God of Slaughter and the Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer. Power of the former became even stronger as it was released by the tiger skin gloves. A cold killing intent accompanied by a sharp saber energy covered the sky and rushed towards Zheng Chu. Although this blade was not chopped with Chen Zhang's horribly dense true qi, the aura it released was still majestic and shocking. Its speed was as fast as lightning as it violently chopped down from Zheng Chu's head, giving rise to waves of tornado-like energy. Chen Shang. Zheng Chu was extremely shocked. In that short moment, he hastily dodged and let Chen Shang hack the flying talisman into pieces. Although he missed the first attack, Chen Shang did not feel that it was a pity. He reversed his hand and chopped once again brought forth a swift and fierce slash that carried with it an explosive, pa-pa-pa-pa, sound. It shook the air and swept everything in its path, condensing an extremely terrifying force that was as fast as lightning, as if it could pierce through everything in the world and stab towards Zheng Chu. With a "su" sound, the powerful force passed through and pierced through Zheng Chu's left shoulder, hitting the mountain wall and leaving a fist-sized hole on it. The hole was so deep that one couldn't see the bottom. Zheng Chu had passed the 8th Nirvana tribulation, thus his reaction and speed far surpassed those of the extreme realm cultivators. Hence Chen Zhang's two quick and violent attacks were unable to kill him. Chen Shang had gathered all of his aura and strength into those two strikes. Now that he hasn't been hit, his aura has also receded quite a bit. He had to start from the beginning. Both of their feet touched the ground at the same time. Chen Zhang's previous two strikes were completed when they fell. It was clear how fast he was. Chen Shang expressed rich killing intent on his face. His entire body surged with killing intent like a dragon. His firm and cold eyes clearly showed his determination to kill Zheng Chu. Seeing his expression, Zheng Chu was pretty terrified. An unprecedented fear rose up in his heart. He had just witnessed Chen Zhang's strength as well as that monstrous killing aura. You want to kill me? Zheng Chu suddenly became so angry unconsciously. He let out a loud roar. He was an elite who dominated immortals in the heavenly realm, but now a man merely at the extreme realm intended to kill him. This caused him to feel that his dignity was being trampled upon. Chen Shang brandished his divine saber, then a series of crackling sounds could be heard. As Chen Shang chopped down his weapon, a wave of incomparably tyrannical demon-subduing force condensed into a point and shot towards Zheng Chu. Of course I can kill you since you want to kill me. Following his words, Chen Shang once again used his demon-subduing force to pierce through Zheng Chu's body. This time, it was on his right shoulder. Even not using true qi, the strength that Chen Shang displayed was beyond Zheng Chu's imagination, especially the terrifying force flow. It was something as powerful as true qi, and could only be produced after the body had been repeatedly tempered and smelted in a furnace. Only a very diligent cultivator could make it. You, just as Zheng Chu said this word, a burst of energy rushed out from under Chen Zhang's feet. His entire body was like an arrow shot out of the mystery as he flew towards Zheng Chu. HMPH. Chen Shang used his blade to slap Zheng Chu's face, sending him flying into the mountain wall. With the hand of God of Slaughter and Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer, Chen Shang was extremely formidable in an environment where no one could use true qi, causing Zheng Chu to be incomparably afraid. Seeing Chen Shang attack him one after another without any scruples, Zheng Chu realized that Chen Shang would really kill him, while he had not even the chance to retaliate. Zheng Chu, who laid on the ground, was just about to get up when he saw Chen Shang leaping high into the sky, then suddenly fell down like a steel plate, after which his foot trampled on Zheng Chu's left button. Crack! Zheng Chu's Nirvana realm flesh body and his bones that he had refined with powerful true qi for many years were both crushed. His flesh and blood splattering everywhere, and he let out a mournful roar. At that moment, Zheng Chu was miserably fragile. Your body is too rotten. Chen Zhang's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. Demon-subduing force gushed out from his feet as he ferociously stomped on Zheng Chu's right shoulder and crushed his bones, which caused Zheng Chu to be in excruciating pain. So what if you came down from the heavenly realm? I can still trample you to death. Chen Zhang's expression was malevolent and his eyes were vicious. He crazily stomped on Zheng Chu's body. He precisely controlled the strength of his attack that did not crush Zheng Chu into meat, but caused blood to spurt out from his mouth like a fountain. The incomparable humiliation and pain made Zheng Chu feel like an ant. Even though he had monstrous hatred in his heart, he could do nothing about it. He never imagined that a genius like him who was even famous in the heavenly realm would be ruthlessly trampled upon by a kid who wasn't even in the nirvana realm. Chapter 535, Fairy Goods. Chen Shang picked up Zheng Chu's lapel and ferociously punched his face with his demon-subduing force again and again. Although it was only one sound of the demon-subduing force, it was enough to make Zheng Chu dizzy and swollen. Chen Shang, why don't you kill me? Zheng Chu's anger reached its peak. You want to die? It's not that easy. Chen Shang sneered as he crazily waved his fists, which brought along a strong wind. The explosion of his fists caused the demonic energy to explode, mercilessly smashing into Zheng Chu's body, breaking his bones and shattering his meridians inch by inch. Zheng Chu wished nothing but death. In the canyon, the fist wind were howling miserably like tigers roaring. Thunders rumbled incessantly. Indeed, Zheng Chu's body was strong, that he survived under the devastation caused by Chen Zhang's explosive fists. Don't be complacent, haha. I am gonna die with you. Zheng Chu suddenly let out a sinister laugh that made Chen Zhang's hair stand on end. Suddenly, an intense wave of divine sense rushed over. Chen Shang only saw Zheng Chu suddenly faint and a ray of white light surged out from Zheng Chu's head. The light carried an extremely powerful spiritual suppression that made Chen Shang feel a sharp pain in his head and almost explode. His soul left his body. Seems like this guy is going to use his soul to die with you. Long Shui screamed. Devouring demonic art, quick! Bai Yuyu hurriedly shouted. Chen Shang hurriedly operated his devouring demonic art, after which the soul force that was trying to penetrate his body was suddenly refined into an extremely pure soul force which then entered his sea of consciousness, fusing with his soul and strengthening his divine soul. A sharp pain suddenly transmitted from Zheng Chu's soul. He felt his soul being torn apart by a powerful force, which intimated him extremely, since this soul was his only hope. If Zheng Chu could use his soul to kill Chen Shang, then he could wait until Zuo Zhenshuan arrived and save him. But now, Chen Shang was using a terrifying evil art to devour his soul. It's out of my prediction that this kid has cultivated his soul to such a level. It seems he wants to cultivate a divine soul, but no matter how strong his soul is, it is inferior to yours. Bai Yuyu said faintly, this seems to be a soul technique from the immortal path, able to cause the soul to leave the body. However, it is very dangerous. Chen Shang let out a light sigh as he slowly circulated the devouring demonic art and slowly devoured Zheng Chu's powerful soul. Is that the devouring demonic art? You evildoer! Zheng Chu sneery yelled. Both Chen Shang and Bai Yuyu were surprised that Zheng Chu could recognize this devouring demonic art. So what? My demonic art is specifically designed to devour guys like you. Haha, Chen Shang laughed. Bai Yuyu once said that very few people could recognize this devouring demonic technique even in the heavenly realm. It was rigidly inherited and only a dozen of people could ever learn it. Chen Shang could not devour Zheng Chu's power, but it would be more than includable for him to devour his soul. A divine soul could produce powerful magic power that contained an extremely mystical power. It allowed a person to change his or her forms and unleash divine abilities. One could see how extraordinary it was. Normal souls simply couldn't compare to it. Very quickly, Zheng Chu's soul was painstakingly devoured and refined by Chen Shang, becoming a part of his soul. Long Shui had said that the first big stage of divine soul was divided into 6 phases: infant, young child, growth, transformation, maturity, and perfection. Each phase was further divided into 10 levels. Chen Shang was previous at the 10th level of growth phase. After devouring Zheng Chu's soul, he jumped into the first level of transformation phase. The divine soul within his sea of consciousness was currently being enveloped by a faint white barrier of air. As long as he reached the 10th level, his soul would form a complete cocoon, while he had already begun to transform. After transformation, he would reach the perfect stage, at which his magic power would even be stronger. As expected of a soul that survived the 8th Nirvana tribulation, Long Shui exclaimed in surprise. Although it was a powerful soul that survived the 8th Nirvana tribulation, it only raised Chen Zhang's soul by one stage, which showed just how powerful a divine soul was. Don't waste this body, seal it up first, and don't let the power in his body run out. When you have the chance, swallow this power, or use an indirect method to devour it for Lu Menger. Bai Yu said that those who successfully devoured the 8th Nirvana tribulation were all from the heavenly realm. Thus their body would definitely increase his power. Hearing that, Chen Shang quickly stopped beating the body. He then froze it with rocks that released ice, placed it into a sarcophagus and sealed it inside his storage ring. Hurry up and leave, Zuo Junxuan is coming back. Long Shui hurriedly called out. Chen Shang planned to check up Zheng Chu's storage ring, but he must leave now. He did not want to have any conflicts with Zuo Junxuan, because Zuo Junxuan was the principal of Demon Subduing Academy. He could take care of Shui Shenxian and Leng Yulin in the academy, especially with the help of the stellar transposition realm that would save him a lot of time. Now that he had finished with Zheng Chu, he could still quietly return to the Demon Subduing Academy in the future. This guy must have a very high position in the heavenly realm to actually have such rare items, thousands of them. That's amazing. Su Meiyao couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Bai Yu also had an expression of surprise on his face. Chen Shang didn't have the time to check the storage ring, so he could leave it to Su Meiyao and Bai Yu to examine it. Hearing the two girls exclaim in surprise, Chen Shang knew that the top-quality crystal must be very valuable. Is there any Dan or anything like that? Chen Shang hurriedly asked. Let me take a look. There's a box inside. Although I can feel the elixir and spirit chi inside, I can't open it. There's a restriction or something. Judging from the Dan's aura, it must be at the heavenly grade. Su Meiyao said. Heavenly grade Dan. Chen Shang was shocked. This kind of Dan was rarely seen in the mortal world. Su Meiyao and Bai Yu had also said it was extremely expensive even in the heavenly realm. What else? At this moment, Chen Shang was overjoyed. There are also a few flying talismans, a low-quality immortal sword, and 2 maps. Su Meiyao said with some surprise, one map shows the Sun Moon Island, the other shows this top one profound realm. It seems like Zheng Chu came down primarily for this profound realm. At that moment, Chen Shang had turned into a bird. He had to leave the canyon before he could stop. However, he really wished to stop immediately and took a look after learning that there were a lot of good items within Zheng Chu's storage ring. An immortal sword, that is a good item. But it's no use to me. Chen Shang said. He already had the Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer, which was a divine weapon that was even more powerful than an immortal tool. Chapter 536, Steel. Zuo Junxuan felt extremely helpless in this profound realm where he couldn't control his true chi. After being thrown out by the tornado released by Long Shui, he had no way to control his body. He could only allow that huge force to fly him out. Although he didn't know what happened at that time, he was certain that someone had deliberately released that power to separate him and Zheng Chu. Zuo Junxuan quickly returned to the canyon, but he only saw some blood stains on the ground. It was Zheng Chu's blood, and he guessed that someone had kidnapped Zheng Chu and had ordered him to lead the way to the place where the rare plants were hidden. Zheng Chu had said that only he had a detailed map of the top one profound realm. Chen Shang turned into a bird and quickly left the canyon, hiding deep in the mountains. This box is really hard to open. It's small and full of powerful restrictions. If I forcibly destroy it, I will activate those restrictions and cause the box to explode. Chen Shang frowned. Inside the box was a heavenly grade Dan, but right now it was very difficult to open it, which made him extremely anxious. I should have used the soul-taking incantation to search that guy's memories. With my current understanding of formations, I am simply unable to open it. Chen Shang shook his head and sighed. He could only temporarily put away the box containing heavenly grade Dan, and waited for Lu Menger to open it for him. To avoid meeting Zuo Junxuan, Chen Shang didn't follow the map. He was worried that Zuo Junxuan also had a map. Besides, even though Zuo Junxuan knew he killed Zheng Chu, Chen Shang didn't want to do anything to him. He wanted to build a good relationship with Zuo Junxuan so that he could benefit from Demon Subduing Academy. At this moment, Chen Shang turned into a bird and rapidly flew towards his target. He knew that those sect headmasters would soon know what happened in Sun Moon Island, especially in this unique period, so he had to hurry to the place where the elixir plants was hidden. Although Chen Shang had become a bird, due to his true chi which was affected as well as the pressure down there, his speed became very slow. He continuously flew for more than 2 months before finally getting close to his destination. However, he was surprised as he saw the entire land he was standing on was extremely futile with all plants withered. It's really far. Fortunately, the time here is different from the outside. Otherwise, the entrance would have been closed by now. I need to quickly go to that place and obtain more spiritual medicines. Chen Shang looked around. However, this place doesn't seem to be a place with a large amount of exilic plants. The spirit chi here was pitifully thin, and this place was also at the border of the top one profound realm. Chen Shang guessed that the spirit chi of this profound realm was all concentrated in the central region, so after arriving here, he was very puzzled, because according to common sense, this place couldn't possibly allow a large amount of rare flowers and plants to grow for many years. It seems like the marking on the map is not the place where the elixirs grew. It should only be a hint. Su Meiyao said. If precious elixirs could still grow in such a place, there could only be one possibility, that there must be a powerful spirit-gathering formation there, but Long Shui didn't sense it. An hour later, Chen Shang climbed over a desolate mountain. In front of him was a desolate plain with a stele erected on top of it. The stele wasn't big, only as tall as a person. Although it was still very far away, it was very eye-catching on this plain. Damned Li Tianjin, Chen Shang cursed as he continued to run. On the way here, if it wasn't for him quickly arriving here, he would have already killed many powerful demon beasts and obtained many demon cores, which should be a huge amount of wealth. But as he continued on his journey, he arrived at a place where even birds never shit. The words on the stele were written by Li Tianjin. It didn't contain much information, but was extremely infuriating. The one who comes here, do you feel angry? Do you think it's all for nothing? Don't be angry, I only wish you to experience the beauty of the interior of this top one profound realm. Back then, I was trapped here for many years, so I got bored and wandered around here. There were precious elixirs everywhere, but I've already harvested all of them. Most of them were reduced to ashes when I was refining pills, and only a small portion was moved to a place close to this top one profound realm. Below it is a map. Chen Shang wanted to smash this stele into ashes with his palm. He came here with so much effort, but it was only a joke by Li Tianjin. Luckily, there were still some elixirs inside, otherwise he would have vomited blood. Don't worry, the elixirs Li Tianjin planted in the past have definitely grown. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang also hoped so as he started to memorize the map engraved on the stele. The precious elixirs in this top one profound realm all belong to our fire god shrine. A loud and excited voice rang with laughter. The demon subduing academy is too naive. They definitely didn't expect us to have a map of this profound realm. Another gentle voice spoke in a mocking tone. When Chen Shang heard these two sounds coming from afar, he hurriedly turned into a rock and hid nearby the stele. Damn it, what is going on here? It's not strange that these guys can enter the top one profound realm, but how could they all got maps? Chen Shang asked doubtfully in his heart. Very quickly, Chen Shang saw a middle-aged man and a young man dashing over from the distance. They were wearing the customs of Fire God Shrine. Sure enough, it was as Chen Shang had expected. All of them went into a rage after seeing the contents on the stele. I've checked around. There are no signs of anyone else coming here. It seems that we were the first to find this place. The youth said. At this moment, a burst of laughter came from afar. That's right, but what if you found it first? As they spoke, two old men wearing white robes flew over and appeared on top of the stone monument. With a glance, they saw the contents on it, then furrowed their brows. They are elders of the Divine Martial Sect. I have seen them before. People from the Divine Martial Sect are all bad guys. Back then, they also planned to kill me. Chen Shang thought. He suddenly discovered that there were many powers that had entered the top one profound realm, including the elders of the Divine Martial Sect and the Fire God Shrine. Where are the Hall Master of the Divine Martial Sect and Fire God Shrine? They should be the first to arrive. Chen Shang was puzzled and continued to observe. It would be the best if the Divine Martial Sect and Fire God Shrine had a conflict. At that time, he would just wait to reap the benefits. At the same time, both the two powers learned that there was only one treasure in this place. In order to obtain it, there was only one choice, and that was to exterminate the other party and take the treasure for themselves. Chapter 537, Benefit from a Conflict. Seeing the people from the other factions arrive, face of the Fire God Shrine's middle-aged man became extremely dark. Are you guys sent by the newly risen King's Shrine? You are just ants in the heavenly realm. The middle-aged man sneered. No, we are from the Divine Martial Sect. I think it will not take for us to have a place in the heavenly realm. Of course, you have to be alive until you ascend to the heavenly realm to see it. An old man from the divine martial sect lightly smiled, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. Chen Shang was shocked. He knew that the divine martial sect was a branch of the king's shrine in the mortal realm, but now they intended to be independent. This meant that behind the divine martial sect there was someone with strength comparable to a human king supporting them. Conflicts between sects were by their nature extremely cruel. Now Chen Shang gained a higher level of understanding of the divine martial sect. I admit that your human king bloodline is a bit arrogant, but our fire god shrine is not a pushover either. Furthermore, both of us can't use true chi right now, so don't forget what our fire god shrine elders have. The fire god shrine's middle-aged man clenched his fists, and a scorching aura began to emanate from his body. This caused Chen Shang to be slightly surprised. Under the circumstances where he couldn't use his true chi, the man from fire god shrine was actually able to release heat, which meant that he could use fire. As for Chen Shang, who possessed the heaven and earth fire soul, he couldn't do this. Fire soul. It seems the stories are true. We've heard long ago that all men from fire god shrine are demons that specialize in stealing fire soul, then fuse them with your bodies with evil techniques. The old man from the divine martial sect tightly clenched his fist. The bones in his body started to crackle as energy crazily surged in his body. The strength of both sides were about the same, but both of them were restricted of using true chi, thus their battles were not that fierce. These four people with equal strength no longer bickered and launched fierce attacks at the same time. All of them were engaged in close quarters combat. Even though they couldn't use his true chi, the power they exerted through their bodies was also extremely powerful, and Chen Shang was also waiting for an opportunity to make his move. The fire god shrine was an evil sect. It specialized in robbing fire souls, so Chen Shang would not miss such an opportunity. Moreover, the divine martial sect also wanted him die, hence he would show no mercy at all. Since he couldn't use his true chi, the battle between the four Nirvana realm warriors didn't cause much of a commotion and wouldn't attract anyone else. Most people didn't put too much energy into their bodies when they could cultivate true chi, unless they reached the peak of the 100 cultivation realm, which required they to do so. However, once they stepped into the Nirvana realm, many people would put aside their bodies and focus on training their thick true chi. In this sort of gravitational environment that was 20 times more than normal, they had consumed a great deal of their physical strength. After only about 2 hours, all four of them had fought to the point of being hard to bear. They had used up over half of their strength and sweated continuously. At this moment, the fire god shrine took the advantage because they had fire souls that allowed them to release an oppressive heat when attacking. It was a type of torture to others as well. It's about time, little dragon, focus on the timing to cooperate with me. Chen Shang said. Long Shui would not be affected in this kind of environment because she was using magic power. She could gather the spiritual energy of the world anytime, and use it as her own power to attack. Find those elixirs and share some with me. Long Shui said very obediently. Chen Shang was not surprised by this old woman who always acted like a little girl. Just a moment ago, you guys were still so stubborn. It seems like you all are only mediocre at this level. It is a great crime if your divine martial sect wants to betray the king's shrine. If you can't kill us, haha, the fire god shrine's middle-aged man panted as he spoke. Both sides stopped fighting. They knew that if they continued, both sides would suffer losses. At that time, neither side would gain anything. This was all because they were too confident. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spouted nonsense from the start. Rest assured, none of you will escape today. Hearing this voice, the elders of the fire god shrine and divine martial sect trembled. They were very familiar with Chen Shang. How could they not recognize this voice? Following the sound of Chen Zhang's voice, a green light flashed and Chen Shang suddenly appeared. The Azure Dragon Devil Slaughtering Slayer in his hand had already been raised high into the air. He suddenly chopped down towards the head of a young man from the fire god shrine. Since the four of them had gone through a long battle of endurance, now, their strength and speed had been greatly reduced. In front of Chen Zhang's violent and fast attacks, they simply had no way of defending against them. At the same time that the azure light flashed, red blood splashed out. It was like a red flower blooming, splattering in the air and splattering onto the faces of the other three, causing them to quiver involuntarily. Chen Shang, the fire god shrine's middle-aged man, roared and threw a fierce punch at the sudden appearance of him. However, when his fist struck towards Chen Shang, Chen Zhang's body flashed and dodged to the back of the two elders from the divine martial sect in a light movement. Pa, 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 a series of explosions rang out as the echoes reverberated through the silent wasteland. At the same time that Chen Zhang's broadsword slashed across the wasteland, he unleashed his invincible demon-subduing force. His speed was as fast as lightning, breaking the waists of the two elders who were trying to escape. In the blink of an eye, Chen Shang had killed 3 powerful experts who had passed the 7 nirvana tribulations. However, Chen Shang was not touched by that at all. He had done such kind of job for a long time ago. At this moment, Chen Shang was extremely calm and had a smile on his face. The Fire God Shrine's middle-aged man only had one thought in his mind, and that was to escape for his life. He didn't know what abilities Chen Shang had for him to hide in the surroundings and appear when they were exhausted, then use his lightning-fast attack to kill the 3 of them. Thus, he was certain that his current strength was inferior to Chen Shang the Freak. If he continued to linger, then he would be the next to die. Chen Shang had no choice but to admit that the Fire God Shrine's middle-aged man was using all his might to escape. His speed was shockingly fast as he left behind a long afterimage. Only after a blink of eye that he had flew to a top of a high mountain far away. However, Long Shui was even faster than him. She shot out like a ray of light, turning into a white belt of light and coiling around the escaping middle-aged man. Observing that Long Shui had succeeded, Chen Shang slowly put away the storage rings on the hands of the 3 dead men. However, as he was about to open them, he discovered that the storage rings were already damaged. They are truly a bunch of sly old foxes. They had done some protection. Chen Shang sighed. Some storage rings were equipped with profound formations. If the owners died, the storage rings would self-destruct. The escaping Fire God Shrine's middle-aged man was bundled up by Long Shui and brought to Chen Shang. Fire God Shrine, well, you guys are the evil forces that specialize in robbing fire souls. You do make me tremble with fear, Chen Shang lightly said as he stepped on the middle-aged man's face. Chapter 538. Fire God Law. Right now, Chen Shang could do whatever he wanted. For him, those in the Nirvana realm were all the same. He could kill whoever he wanted, not to mention the headmaster of such vicious powers. Chen Shang, you can't kill me, the middle-aged man said through clenched teeth. Well, why? Chen Shang stomped on his abdomen and a "pa" sound rang out. Under the attack of demon-subduing force, the middle-aged man felt as if his abdomen was being struck by lightning. He was in so much pain that blood flowed out from his mouth. I just killed those 3 guys. Do you think I will let you go? Chen Shang laughed loudly as he stomped on his abdomen and chest, shattering his bones and organs. Horrifying howls reverberated in the air, giving people goosebumps. The middle-aged man knew that if he wanted to live, he had to take out some things to exchange, otherwise he would be killed by Chen Shang. In this short period of time, he completely recognized what kind of person Chen Shang was. Chen Shang would not even hesitate as he killed Nirvana realm martial artists, for which the middle-aged man himself would do some consideration. I know you have a fire soul, one that is larger than our imagination. If I'm not wrong, yours should be the heaven and earth fire soul, isn't it? The middle-aged man gritted his teeth and said while enduring the pain. Chen Shang slightly frowned. He didn't think that the man would be seen through it. He stepped on the middle-aged man's leg and increased his strength. Then what action are you planning to take against me? Our Fire God Shrine has a secret technique to extract fire souls. Normally, the people whose fire souls get extracted are mostly disabled, delirious, and die. Our Fire God Shrine is spreading throughout the world to collect the scattered fire souls. Anyone works for the Fire God Shrine will be rewarded with low-level fire souls. The middle-aged man knew that he must tell the truth for living. We really do want to take your fire soul, but we still have some scruples. However, we've already decided that we will take advantage of the chaos to capture you when the Great War of the 3 Realms breaks out. You guys are too naive. Do you really think I'm that easy to deal with? Chen Shang sneered. That's right. Although you're not powerful, it's very difficult to capture you. However, after my investigation, your friend and your women. After hearing his words, Chen Shang was filled with fury. With an explosive sound, the demon-subduing force surged forth with killing intent, making a bloody hole in the middle-aged man's abdomen. Ah! The man yelled painstakingly. He, a grand elder of the Fire God Shrine, a warrior who had survived the 7th Nirvana tribulation, was now being ravaged by a little kid at the spiritual martial realm. This made him extremely angry, but it was of no use. It was not on him even to commit suicide. As long as you let me go, I will teach you a martial art, a secret technique of the fire god shrine. It is only suitable for those who possess a fire soul to cultivate. The stronger the fire soul is, the more powerful the technique is. The middle-aged man said. Chen Shang gave a cruel smile. There's no need. With that, he slapped the middle-aged man's head and chanted an incantation as he searched through the middle-aged man's memories. This man had lived for a very long time and had a lot of memories. If he absorbed them all in one go, it would only give Chen Shang a headache. Thus he only looked for what he wanted. However, it did hurt the man a lot. These guys are really despicable. They included Sister Menger, Shangyu and Elder Dan on the kill list. Chen Shang found a list of names. The people on it were all outstanding with fire. Fire God Law, Chen Shang murmured. He found a book with a lot of content. It was instantly absorbed into his mind and became his memory. What he needed to do now was to properly understand the Fire God Law and see how powerful it was. It is indeed the Fire God Law. It is a famous marital art even in the heavenly realm, also the key of the power of Fire God Shrine. Many of the disciples in the Fire God Shrine were created using this Fire God Law, and only those who possess fire souls and are loyal to the Fire God Shrine can learn it. You probably don't have all of it in your hands, Su Meiyao said in surprise. The middle-aged man's face was deathly pale. He was in the Nirvana realm, and even though Chen Shang had tortured him multiple times, he still hadn't fainted yet. What did you do to me? The middle-aged man said angrily. I've searched through your memories. Chen Shang smiled faintly. What? How could you know such a forbidden demonic art, you? Before he could finish his words, Chen Zhang's broadsword carried a deep killing intent as it mercilessly slashed down and killed the middle-aged man. He's dead. There are many good stuffs. Keep them properly. Chen Shang used a restriction to seal up the corpse. Corpse of a man from Fire God Shrine was precious because it contained a fire soul and a powerful fire attribute true qi. If he had the chance in the future, he could slowly devour that power and figure out a way to extract the fire soul. If only I could encounter more people from Fire God Shrine. If they can extract fire souls from someone else, I can also do it. After Chen Shang finished dealing with the 4 corpses, he adjusted his condition and shattered the stone tablet. After that, he ran towards the place where the real elixirs were hidden. He just learned from the middle-aged man's memories that many maps were scattered across the heavenly realm the day before the eclipse. That's why many major powers came here, while Fire God Shrine and Demon Suppression God Shrine obtained the maps earlier. They also got a detailed map of the top 1 profound realm. It must come from Li Tianjin. This guy really likes chaos. Chen Shang cursed inwardly. There were a lot of people trying to kill him back then. I think he probably harbored some hatred in his heart and wanted these people to kill each other within the top 1 profound realm. Perhaps he even raised many powerful things inside of it, Su Meiyao said. Thinking of this, Chen Zhang's expression turned heavy. Luckily, he knew from the memories of the Fire God Shrine that Lu Menger hadn't come. Otherwise, he would be worried of her. This was because no one dared to claim himself invincible in such an environment. If he got surrounded and unable to escape, then death would be inevitable. In the future when I get to the heavenly realm, I must meet Li Tianjin. Chen Shang said. There will be a chance. Defeat him when you concoct Dan. Su Meiyao smiled satisfactorily. She had a lot of confidence in Chen Shang. After all, she was the one who taught him. After a month of traveling, Chen Shang finally arrived near the location engraved on the steel and saw many mountain peaks marked on the map. This time, he was not as excited as he previously did, because this could be a farce set by Li Tianjin, or a trap with lots of powerful sects inside. Chen Shang had to keep alert. Chapter 539, Treasure Under the Lake. Chen Shang observed his surroundings for around an hour, but did not find anyone nearby. At this moment, he was slightly excited. However, considering Li Tianjin's little trick, he was worried that he would be disappointed. Sister Meiyao, do you think Li Tianjin has any intention of spreading information about this top 1 profound realm all over the heavenly realm? Chen Shang asked. This doesn't seem to be good for him. Could it be that he merely did this for revenge? If that's the case, then his enemy will very likely be able to obtain the medicinal herbs inside. Chen Shang continued on the road while discussing with Su Meiyao. If it was me, I would definitely not leave behind a large amount of medicinal ingredients in this top 1 profound realm. At most I would only leave some that have yet to mature. Li Tianjin definitely know that earth-level Dan is extremely useful even in the heavenly realm. We could learn from the 2 medicinal fields you obtained earlier that medicinal ingredients for Earth rank Dan are extremely rare, so is that of upper grade profound rank Dan, thus there should not be lots of high-level medicinal ingredient in this profound realm. Bai Yu said. Not all of the people in the heavenly realm were immortals. Many of them were just born with better aptitudes than mortals and cultivated faster. Zheng Chu was a good demonstration showing that most people in the heavenly realm were below nirvana realms, though there were indeed immortals up there. Perhaps there really is some kind of resource in here that can cause people to fight over it. I guess he is worried that no one will ever find out about the top 1 profound realm, which would then be wasted. The top 1 profound realm is like a small world, rich in spirit chi, and has existed for a long time, so it can definitely nurture many minds. Su Meiyao said. Maybe, if I had known earlier, I would have used the Emperor Crystal to check it out. Maybe I would have discovered some minds. Chen Shang said regretfully. Climbing up a mountain, Chen Shang looked down at a huge lake. This lake was filled with dense spirit chi, and above it was smoke condensing from spirit chi. The medicinal field Li Tianjin built here was under the lake. Find out what's down there. This kind of lake is enough to give birth to a monster as big as a mountain. I don't want to be eaten down there, Chen Shang said with fear. We didn't find any big guys, but we did find a formation at the bottom of the lake. Water can't enter that place. It's the same as the island under the sea in the White Tiger Profound Realm. Long Shui said. Chen Shang jumped up from the mountain and jumped towards the lake. When he almost reached the water surface, he turned into a small fish and dived into the water, quickly swimming towards the bottom. This lake was very deep, but what surprised him was that the deeper he went, the denser the spirit chi was, which was indeed very helpful for the growth of precious plants. Soon, he saw a flash of white light at the bottom of the lake. When he got closer, he discovered that there was a small garden in the size of a small house. It had many lush flowers, grass, and trees. Although Chen Shang was in a distance to the bottom, he could tell from a glance that there were lots of familiar spiritual fruit trees. He easily passed through the formation and entered the medicine garden. There was a large formation that absorbed spiritual energy as fuels to run the formation. It could also be used to grow spiritual medicines, allowing them to grow very well. Just as we expected, there is not much of them. Even so, Chen Shang was not disappointed. His eyes were filled with excitement because he saw some precious spiritual medicines. Is this the soul-breaking tree? Chen Shang gently touched a pure white tree. This tree was around 3 people tall, and its branches looked like human bones. The leaves were like a palm, and from afar, it looked a little terrifying, like a ghost bearing its fangs and claws. This sort of thing is rare even in the heavenly realm, Su Meiyao said with a bit of surprise. The flowers, fruits, leaves, branches, roots and skins of soul-breaking tree all had different characteristics. When combined, they could be used to refine a very vicious thing called the God Corrosion Powder. As long as one touched a little bit of this powder, his or her body would be corroded. Not to mention human body, even weapons, stones, diamonds and other things would be corroded. It was extremely terrifying. If it was sprayed on a person with insufficiently strong flesh body, then he or she would be eroded instantly. God corrosion powder was prohibited both in mortal and heavenly realm. Once it was discovered, the owner would definitely be wanted for the righteous path. It is said that this tree will first grow to 9 feet first, then suddenly grow smaller and smaller, and the smaller it is, the more powerful the God corrosion powder refined from it will be. When it is only the size of a finger, even an immortal's body will be corroded, but according to legends, it will take tens of thousands of years to reach that stage. When Su Meiyao said that, she couldn't help but become excited because those things knew how to evolve. While other elixirs, no matter how powerful they were, could only be used to refine heaven-level Dan. However, soul-breaking trees knew how to evolve, so the strength of the God corrosion powder refined from them were different in strength. Such elixirs were extremely scarce, it was even harder to observe one. It takes 30,000 years to mature. Chen Shang sighed, I didn't expect to find one. Right now, it seems like it has just matured. Yep, when it matures, it could only generate God corrosion powder in the rank of medial grade profound rank Dan. Looking at the plants around him, Chen Shang immediately started laughing, those guys are coming for nothing. The medicinal ingredients for the soul stabilizing Dan must be upper grade profound rank Dan. After a person dies, his soul will dissipate, but if he swallows a soul stabilizing Dan in time, his soul can gather together. If you need to stabilize your soul while cultivating, you can also take it. Any Dan that is beneficial to souls is extremely rare. Chen Shang looked at the small white grass and flowers. They were soul-stabilizing grass and spirit-calming flower. The medicinal plants in this medicinal field were all very inclusive. In other words, most of them could gather a Dan formula. It was obvious that someone had done this on purpose. Transfiguration Dan, upper grade profound rank, profound beasts that take it could probably turn into humans. It is also rare. Face preserving Dan, upper grade earth rank. It is the legendary pellet that can make a person's face stay unchanged forever, late is favorite. Longevity Dan, upper grade profound rank. It can increase a person's lifespan by 50 years, the most desirable thing of those old fellows. Superior longevity Dan, lower grade earth rank. It can increase a person's lifespan by 500 years, also the old men's favorite. 9 apertures body strengthening Dan, lower grade earth rank. It can strengthen a person's physical body. Life recovery Dan, foundation building Dan, 5 elements true essence Dan, profound sun fire Dan, and primordial spirit Dan. Chen Shang had obtained many of these medicinal ingredients, but he was not bothered of having more. What is this? It's so strange. Chen Shang stroked a black flower that was only the size of a pinky. What made he curious was that there was no living plants within 3 feet from this small black flower, which illustrated how extraordinary the small flower was. Flying 9 Death Flower. Su Meiyao let out a delicate cry and shouted. Chapter 540, Legends of Mysterious Dan. Chen Shang trembled thoroughly as he heard the words, Flying 9 Death Flowers. Incomparable ecstasy welled up from his heart, causing him to nearly go insane with excitement. This was because Flying 9 Death Flowers were used to concoct the Flying Dan, which was at lower grade heaven rank. Even though it was called the Flying 9 Death Dan, it was something that people who had passed the 8th Nirvana tribulations dreamed of. After consuming a Flying Dan, one could directly transcend the 9th Nirvana tribulations, obtain incredible strength, and then ascend into the sky without experiencing the most powerful 9th Nirvana tribulations. No one knew what kind of energy such a formidable Dan could have to make someone avoid Nirvana tribulations and obtain energy that was even more powerful than a warrior who passed 9th Nirvana tribulation, but it was clear that one who took it would either succeed or die. Although it was called the Flying 9 Death Flower, one who took a Dan concocted from it had 50% chance of successfully ascending, while the chance was only 10% if he or she took the flower directly. Don't celebrate too early. This kind of flower is only useful when the 9th Nirvana tribulations comes. After you eat it, there is a 50% chance that the Nirvana tribulations will not come. If it comes anyway, then you must deal with it, otherwise you would die. Su Meiyao said. Well, it doesn't seem to be the same as what's written in the books. Chen Shang thought that one could eat it no matter which level of Nirvana tribulations he or she was. That's reasonable. Very few people have eaten the Flying Dan, but I've refined 2 of them before. One of the trier successfully avoided and passed the 9th Nirvana tribulations, but the other one still did not and died miserably after that. Su Meiyao said. Bai Yu added, Junior Master said that if we take 10 Flying Dan, the Nirvana tribulation will definitely not come. Junior Master? Chen Shang asked doubtfully. It was against the law if one who took 10 Flying Dan could avoid the most terrifying 9th Nirvana tribulations. Moreover, Chen Shang had the God liquid of creation, thus as long as he had enough time, he would made more of this kind of thing than beans. He was the one who taught me how to refine Dan. He said so, but he has never tried. Whether it is in the heavenly realm or the mortal realm, no one has ever collected 10 Flying Dan together, so it cannot be verified. But now, there is a chance for us. Su Meiyao smiled seductively. She was very interested in this area, and Chen Shang was also carefully moving this flower in. Little dragon, come out and help out. Just don't eat it unchecked. Pick and eat the stuff I already have. Chen Shang asked Long Shui to come out and help. This place wasn't safe, so Chen Shang didn't want the 2 beauties in the ring to take the risk. Leave nothing behind us. Take them all. Now that Chen Shang had obtained this batch of elixirs which was enough for him to refine lower grade earth rank Dan. However, he only had 2 years left, which was definitely insufficient. He was aware that there was no way for him to reach that level no matter how talented he was. Therefore, he needed to enter the Star Transposition realm in Demon Subduing Academy to win some time. Now, he could only concoct pure essence golden pill which was at medial grade profound rank. He needed to concoct at least 2 different types of Dan before he could ascend another level. An upper grade profound rank Dan is a big challenge for me, let alone an earth rank Dan. The test that Elder Dan gave me is really difficult. Chen Shang sighed hopelessly. Elder Dan was about to undergo his nirvana tribulations, but it was hard to tell whether she could succeed or not. If she failed, then this lady would perish. Chen Shang had always wanted to remove the veil of this mysterious woman. Ever since he entered the extreme martial sect, he had felt that this woman knew him and slightly hated him. Maybe she's ugly. Then it would be troublesome if she sticked on me after I win against her. Chen Shang shook his head and smiled. Elder Dan had once said that Chen Shang could take her as his woman and do whatever he wanted on her as long as he won over and obtained her recognition. I could easily tell from her skin, hair, and figure that she is a beautiful woman, but it's hard to say about her face. Su Meiyao said with a smile. Very quickly, all the remaining elixirs in the top 1 profound realm were collected by Chen Shang. These elixirs could be made into 2 doses of Dan, or 1 at least. However, Chen Shang could make as many as he wanted with them. The batch of elixirs he obtained this time were very useful. They were all rare and popular. Chen Shang was certain that if he brought them to auction, he would definitely be able to sell them for a high price. Face-preserving Dan. With this kind of thing, I can have as many women as I want. I feel that there will be many hundred cultivation realm women who are willing to take off their clothes and sleep with me. At this moment, he couldn't help but recall the erotic events that happened in the cave with Shui Shenxian. It made him nostalgic. This was because some people would encounter bottlenecks in their cultivation process, and their fleshly body would age after a long period of time. Some people broke through before their body became old, then they could stay young forever, therefore there were both young and old Nirvana realm marital artists, while those with young looking were pretty gifted. However, if one had a face-preserving pill, he or she could avoid aging. Thus it attracted many beautiful female martial artists. Therefore, if Chen Shang grasped this kind of thing, he would definitely be able to establish a huge harem, because a woman could only stay young appearance by taking face-preserving Dan consistently, not only one. HMPH, you little rascal. I am going to kill you if you dare to use face-preserving Dan on bad things. Su Meiyao threatened him. Haha, can I take this as you being jealous? Chen Shang laughed. You'll get more women if you have a rejuvenation Dan, those who turn back young from old. Bai Yu's words caused Chen Shang to feel goosebumps all over his body. Long Shui giggled and said, if there's a sort of Dan that makes men into women, then this little rascal will have even more women. There is, indeed, that kind of thing, called gender reversion Dan, but they are used only on beasts, because some rare demon beasts are very hard to find. If you have 2 males or females of them, you can use this Dan to change one of them, and that way, you can match them up to make offsprings. Su Meiyao laughed exuberantly. Of course, you can use it on a person. Chen Shang suddenly felt disgusted. Stop talking, I want to vomit. Haha, thus you better not flirting around everywhere in the future. There are some men who take gender reversion Dan in order to obtain large amounts of cultivation resources from other men. Stop saying that, Sister Meiyao. By the way, is there truly a rejuvenation Dan? I guess many old guys should be interested in it, Chen Shang asked. There must be a lot of very old martial artists who wished to take it and turn young. After all, no one wanted to have the appearance of an old man. Of course there is, but it's a lower grade heaven rank Dan, and ingredients are hard to find. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang did not leave this place because of the dense spiritual energy here. The lake was itself rich of spiritual energy, and the spirit gathering array underneath it made it an extremely good environment of cultivation. Thus, Chen Shang decided to cultivate the fire god La here.